kind of just like what you said, man. First team to get the win on the first point is going to end it all. Legit is going to come out here on that Lucio, getting the play of the game. Ends up getting a boop onto Natsuka, turning around, trying to help his team out. And that's the play of the game for you guys. Play of the match is going to go to Sweaty Genji here on that McCree. No doubt this is going to be the Deadeye in the back, taking out one. He finished off Miss Mitten before that. Flashbang onto the Tracer, finishes her, and we see the Ana in the back. Sleepus. I didn't know they'd be able to win with the Bastion, but man, did they pull that thing out.
Yeah, I guess apparently Bastion.
That was Skeppy's two-piece right there.
Yeah, Bastion is used on PC in certain situations.
First game, they just, against Rupture, they just absolutely destroyed Fire Knights, faring no better against them. Here's gonna be the play of the game from the Mercy. Picks up 3, ends up flying in to help break down and surviving. Skeppy ends up getting some heals as well. They did, like I said, getting those key picks in. Gunshot, this is going to be that Deadeye in the back. I think he picked up 4 on this one, if I'm not mistaken. High Noon goes off. There's your 4-piece in the back. That's how it's done, sir. Ends up helping his team get 2 more. So here's going to be the play of the game coming out of Yuna Masaki. Over top, we're going to see the Graviton Surge come out here.
Hey guys, what's up? This is Gozy here, checking in for the first qualifier for the Haste $1,000 tournament. We've already got the semifinals pretty much in a lock. I'm joined here with Trooper. He was my commentator yesterday, and he's going to be my commentator once again today. Trooper, go ahead and say a few words, my friend.
Hey guys, how's it going? I'm really happy to be back. Yesterday we had a lot of fun watching some really talented people play on the Xbox. Some really high-level girls playing support. We had some really high-level DPS plays, some really intense finals. So I'm hoping for a repeat of that today. A lot of high-level play, some really intense games, and I'm not gonna lie, being from Toronto esports, you guys better win.
Gotta represent, right?
Yeah.
Well, hopefully they do so. They have made it into the semifinals. We didn't have a ton of teams sign up for this one due to the late notice, but so far it's looking like Sin Eaters is going to be on the top bracket, just waiting on the first quarterfinal match on their side to be finished up. And for this semifinals, it's going to be Toronto Esports versus Crossfade. Crossfade taking a 2-0 victory over Looking for Main Tank. Now, you guys are going to have to bear with us. I'm kind of a one-man show right now. We're going to be operating this as best as we can to make things work. And we'll get it going on. We got the OW draft coming up for you guys here in just a second. So just waiting on both teams to join in. Have you had a chance to look at any of the rosters yet, Trooper?
No, not really. This is actually my first time watching both of these rosters, so I'm really excited to see them both and see, who jumps out at me. Who are some players that you recommend I keep an eye on if you have seen either of these teams before?
Well, see, that's where I'm kind of at a disadvantage as well. The last time that we did one of these Haste qualifiers, I wasn't around. I was actually out with my wife that day, so we actually had a different team setting that up. And so I wasn't able to see any of these players in action, but I can tell you that I'm excited to see exactly what Toronto Esports. For the most part, that's kind of who I want to see, as well as Sin Eaters. But Toronto Esports, I know they've had some roster shuffling here and there due to some controversy, and those guys, they've got an outstanding, talented roster, and I'm pretty excited to see what they can put down. The OW draft is on the screen. Looks like both teams are starting to select out the maps that they want to get rid of here. Toronto Esports taking out Watchpoint, as well as Numbani Crossfade going ahead and getting rid of Oasis, Hanamura, and Lijiang. So they're not wanting to play around with any of those King of the Hill maps, it looks like so far, as well as the 2CP being Hanamura. Now Hollywood goes down. I know you're kind of a favorite on the Hollywood. What do you think about them taking out Hollywood, man?
It's kind of a buzzkill. I really like
It's a heartbreak,
map.
right?
Yeah, it definitely is, but I'm sure whatever they pick, will be fun to watch. So hopefully these guys get the best maps that they can play on and some of their favorite maps. So then that way we get to see exactly what these teams can do and exactly what they can bring to the table. I'm sure both teams have a strategy in mind for this pick or ban phase, I guess.
Right. Well, I mean, it's looking like all the 2 CPs are out at this point, so we're not going to see any of that. Nepal goes down now, so yeah, they're getting rid of just about all the King of the Hills. Elio's still in, though, so we do have a chance to see some good King of the Hill action if that stays in. Otherwise, it's going to be kind of like an El Clasico with Dorado, Kings Row, and Route 66 if they go that route, which I wouldn't be upset to see. I know we see a lot of Kings Row. It's a very balanced map, so it makes sense for a lot of teams to test each other out on a map like that one, or even Route 66, which actually goes out right now. So it looks like we are going to see a King of the Hill, possibly if this does go to the full round. I don't know which map we're going to be starting on just yet, but Dorado now going out. It's either between Kings Row or Ilios for the start. So let's see where we're going to be going. I'm pretty excited. Where would you like to start? I know it's going to be selected, but do you think Kings Row is the best option for the way out here?
Kings Row is definitely the most even one, but I really want to see Ilios. I mean, I'm pretty sure we saw that map banned out almost right away every single match last night, right? Like, it was like one of the first bans out. So I really like to see some Ilios. It's also one of my favorite maps. I really like that map as well. But unfortunately, it looks like we're going to be going to Kings Row here to start things off.
Yep, we sure are. We are waiting on Crossfade. They do have one player AFK at the moment, but while we're getting him back over here, we're going to make sure to set who's going to be on attack or defense. So bear with me while I get with Toronto Esports and make sure that Cynic is on the correct side if he wants to defend first.
Yeah, that's definitely an important choice, right? I mean, deciding whether you want to attack or defend, maybe you're much stronger on one side and you can play much better. And momentum is such an important factor in these series that getting off to that strong start and getting the side you want to start the map on could probably play a much bigger factor than some people give it to. And obviously we know that having defense second, knowing exactly how far you have to push it, that can also play in your advantage, right?
Oh, most definitely. It most definitely can. And it looks like he is going to be sticking with the defense first. He's going to weigh out that offense of Crossfade and see what they've got to throw at him. So I'm pretty excited. Are you ready to start this sucker up?
Oh, yeah, I can't wait.
Let's go ahead and transition this thing. In the red corner, we are going to have Crossfade. And in the blue, it looks like we're going to have Toronto Esports. If you got a favorite, make sure to go ahead and post that in the Twitch chat right now. And while you're over there in the Twitch window, go ahead and pull up a browser and go to Haste.net. They're going to be the sponsors for this tournament, giving up $1,000. Not for this one specifically, but for this series. And I'm pretty excited to see what all these teams can do here.
Yeah, I am too. It'll be really interesting to see what we start off with. And what I'm really curious to see especially is if we see some things that are very, very different from what we saw yesterday on the Xbox in terms of hero selection and stuff like that, right? See if there's anything that's maybe platform specific that jumps out at us, because we watched a lot of Kings Row yesterday. Right,
we definitely did. And I mean, you're going to be able to weigh out kind of how console and PC are a little bit different. It's definitely going to be something to keep an eye on for sure here. We're going to be spectating a little bit of Cynic and Captain here as he chunks a pumpkin. Oh, congratulations on that one, Reinhardt, swinging for the fences. There you go.
We're seeing both teams start off with an Ana, which was something that I don't think we ever saw double Ana for more than maybe a minute or two yesterday. Definitely wasn't something that was played, and definitely something much more common on the PC at a high level play, right? So.
Right. Most definitely. I'm pretty excited. So as far as lineups goes, the defense is already out. That's Toronto Esports that we're viewing right now. It looks like they're going to be running a 2-2-2 setup with a Genji and the Tracer. Pretty standard, pretty common. They're going to have that back flank support here in the Ana. I'm loving the Ana pick. Snow, a very talented Ana. Very excited to see what he can do on that. Mac rolling out with the Lucio. As far as your attacking team, which is going to be Crossfade, looks like they're going to be coming out with somewhat of a sort of dive, utilizing the Winston and the Zarya picks. Obviously the Lucio and Ana over there, and they're trying to get some picks on that Hanzo as well, with the Genji trying to infiltrate the back line. And immediately right off the bat, we do see a good hook from Note as he clamps down onto Mahugler and finishes him off. So that Hanzo is out of the fight for the side of Crossfade. They're going to have to back up, and now Onigod chimes in for the side of Toronto Esports, finishing off Rupee, sending him back to the spawn point as well. Very aggressive gameplay out of Toronto so far.
Yeah, that was a huge hook from Note. Maybe a little bit of over-aggression coming out of Mahoogler, just being in the wrong place at the wrong time, getting caught off guard by that Roadhog, and that just gives up the death, the pick, and the fight.
Right, most of it. We do see, we are viewing right now Note as he just goes nuts on that Roadhog. He's taking aim at that Genji, trying to get him out in a good pin from Cynic. There's another hook coming in from Note as he lands that. He almost took out that Zarya, wasn't able to finish him off. And we do see the Pharah now getting taken out by Note as he takes aim to the sky. There goes another hook from him trying to land that. Jaro just doing some work in that back end on the Genji. Puts it in onto Matman and Funk, finishing them off. Onigod obviously doing work as well on that Tracer, taking out Haunt Machine and Rupee, ending yet another play from Crossfade. Toronto Esports looking very strong in this initial defense here on Kings Row.
Yeah, Note is playing exceptionally well. He's landing the hooks at the opportune moments. He's doing a very good job also of staying with his backline and making sure that the other team, Crossfade, has no ability to get to them, right? Again, you see him protecting his supports here from the Winston.
We do see the Genji coming out with the ult. Matman trying to get something going here, but the Lucio pops down his beat drop, making sure that Toronto Esports survives those ults that were coming out. Jaro only getting one, or he did get one. Onigod, Cynic combining for 3 more on top of that. Toronto Esports just a force to be reckoned with at this point here on defense.
Yeah, absolutely. And Note is making a big fan. He's already got a big fan in me. Just his positioning has been absolutely incredible. Staying with the backline, making sure they're to force that Winston away and prevents him from being able to dive onto the backline the way he wanted to and get those kills onto the supports.
Most definitely. And we do see the Rocket Barrage trying to come out right now. Mahoogler does get one, but he gets taken out. Note finishing off Matman and Mahoogler. Funk does get one, and so does Rupee there, as we see the remainder of the team start to go ahead and cap the point here.
Man, I'm just staying on board with this guy. It's like every time I swap off him, even for a second, he starts picking up kills in the kills feed. It's just like...
He really does.
He's just going absolutely off right now. An exceptional round from him so far.
Right, now I'm going to take a look at Funk here on this Winston and see what he can do in the back end. We do get the breakdown now coming out for the side of Crossfade as they try to put in work. Funk in the back line trying to mess with a little bit of those supports back there. He's on the Ana trying to nuke her down. He's got her down pretty low. He's going to finish her off. So Mahoogler and Funk combined for a kill apiece. Matman with a great dash through Jaro finishes him off. It's Crossfades to win right here if they can make it happen. We do got the Monkey with his ult ready to go, and he's going to use it right now. He's going bananas on the point, trying to knock them around. They've got 2 ticks going in their favor. He ends up finishing off 2 with that Rampage. Mac and Cynic all eating that one right there. So it looks like Crossfade going to be able to cap this thing out. Toronto Esports now going to have to defend in the street phase.
Yeah, that was just an excellent job, really, of them forcing Note on the Roadhog into that house, isolating him, and preventing him from being able to do what he'd been doing so well, which is protecting his backline. So there they really isolated him, and that was allowed them to just decimate all the squishies.
Oh, he did. He did amazing with that one. Now we're going to see what exactly they can do in this street phase. Remember, we got a couple of ults up here for both sides. Toronto Esports, they're going to be rocking into this team fight with 4. There's going to be 5. There's that Earth Shatter coming in. There's a Graviton Surge. Jaro, Mac, Onigod combining for 3 kills right there for the side of Toronto Esports as they start getting very aggressive and pushing back Crossfade, letting them know that, hey, we're not playing around here. Now they're on the hunt trying to finish off the Monkey, and Cynic with a great Flame Strike, finishing off Funk, taking him back to the spawn point. They do still have a ton of ults on the table. We're looking at 5 out of their 6, whereas Crossfade, in this choke here in the center area, for the second point rather, is very difficult to get around, especially when you're down ults. They've got 3 up right now, Matman, Mahoogler, and Haunt. There's the nano boosted Genji going nuts. Rocket Barrage trying to come out. Mahoogler does get one. The Genji Blade, the Dragon Blade, does pick up a 2-piece, and he finishes off the 3rd. Now he's on the hunt trying to finish off one more, which is the Genji in the back, trying to put in some work here. Now he's going after the Monkey, trying to finish him off, who is rampaging right now. The Lucio does have his B-drop ready for the side of Crossfade. Not able to use it, though, as Onigod just throws in a stellar pulse bomb to finish off 2 in that one. Mahoogler does get 1 with the Helix Rocket, and the payload is going to continue to move forward here for Crossfade.
Yeah, that's the thing with that Nano Blade, right? It's so strong that if it's used efficiently and correctly, and that was an excellent job there by Matman to just wipe Toronto Esports.
Yeah, they're doing absolutely epic here. Note does have his whole hog ready to go. They're gonna have to use it probably in the next push. This one, it looks like they're winning. A good hook from him does hold down Rupee and allow them to finish him off. Onigod assisting him with that one. Jaro picking up another two-piece right there. Jaro seems to be the man to watch. Onigod also. Those two flankers for the side of Toronto Esports seem to be doing what they do best, and that is to get in the back line, finish off the supports, and finish off the flankers as well, not allowing any damage to come to their own back line because they are just so aggressive on it.
Yeah, it looks like the tanks on Crossfade are just a little bit too focused on looking forward and not quite focused enough on protecting their backline, and it's allowing Jaru, as you're saying, to just absolutely go off.
Right, now here's the whole hog coming out from Note. He does get taken down, though. Haunt Machine does pick up a two-piece with that one right there. So great play for the Ana on the side of Crossfade. He picks up another one, utilizing that canister onto Snow, finishing him off. They do have 12 seconds on the clock. They are finishing everybody off, and it looks like they are going to be able to push this thing and make it to the third and final Foundry phase, so to say. The Omnic Paradise, if you will. Crossfade really clutching up at moments here. And I got to give them props on that one. Toronto Esports seem to be handling their business and knocking down the time. But when it comes to the clutch moment, Crossfade is just there to make things happen.
Yeah, it always looks like Toronto Esports, you know, is like giving themselves a really solid opportunity to hold it, and then Crossfade just counters. But a huge Earth Shatter here doesn't seem to get anybody though. And Jaru's going off. Wow, double
but
kill.
he
Cynic,
does get a pin.
Huge.
Cynic with a, I guess a double pin, charging through. He does knock one and finish off one, and then Jaru with the assist as well. That guy is just going nuts. He's got his Dragon Blade up once again, so look to see that nano-boosted Dragon Blade that we saw before on the side of Toronto Esports. Also on the side of Crossfade, they got the same thing up, and Mahoogler as well. Here goes the Dragon Blade coming out right now. He's putting in some work. Getting a two-piece. Unigod and Cynic picking up one apiece as well. He continues his little onslaught, chasing down Matman, finishes him off, and now he's on the hunt after the last one. Unigod going to try to finish off that Lucio. Looks like he is going to make it back, though. Toronto Esports, very dominating gameplay, but like I said, Crossfade, they've been known to clutch up so far in this series, so we've got to watch out for that one.
They managed to get the pick on the Ana, though, and that stopped the Dragon Blade coming in with the Nano Boost. It was just a huge pick from Onigod, double kill.
Yeah, that was absolutely huge. He ends up picking up 3. Funk does try to get his Earth Shatter off. He ends up pinning down Snow and finishing him off, but it's just not going to be enough. Very uphill battle, and that's going to do it. They do get 2 out of the 3 with 26.7 meters on the board for the side of Crossfade. We're going to see if Toronto Esports can do any better on the attack here.
Yeah, they're going to have to hope that they can, you know, push it all the way now, or pretty much, right? Like, not yeah, they have to push it pretty far. They have to get to the 3rd checkpoint, but actually this is a pretty similar situation to the game we saw yesterday, where if they get it to the 3rd point, it actually might not be that difficult for them to get it all the way. So I think the trick here for Crossfade on defense is going to be to really hold it at the first 2 points and delay as much time as possible, so that if they get to this 3rd checkpoint, they'll have very little time to progress through the map.
Most definitely, and that, you know, that's got to be on the mind of Crossfade right now. Hey, we didn't get a full 3 out of 3. We've got to put in the time and the work to make things happen on these first points here. Make sure they do not get a very fast cap time. So if you're Crossfade, do you go with any sort of stall, or do you kind of stick with what you had?
I don't know. I mean, I think you definitely need to do something to deal with the Genji and the Tracer. If they pull that out, Jaru is going to be playing on the Genji again, it looks like. So if they have that, you're going to need to do something to deal with that, because those two heroes were incredibly effective for the side of Toronto Esports. Oh,
they definitely were. Those guys were just dominating the gameplay. And props out to Cynic as well. We didn't mention him a great deal, but his Earth Shatters, his pins, Flame Strikes, everything that particular hero is capable of, the Reinhardt, he was just using it to his maximum and to his fullest on that, as well as Note. Take note of him, so to say, I guess. cheap dad joke, I guess, right? So Note on that Roadhog, he's been putting in work, landing some spectacular hooks when it counts. So make sure to keep an eye on him as well. Crossfade, it looks like they're going to be coming out here with a 3-2-1 setup. Matman being the solo DPS, utilizing that Soldier. They're going to be running the Ana Lucio for the defense, and as far as the tanks, they're going to be having a Roadhog Reinhardt and the Diva to come out. We do see Onigod already trying to get into that back line on the Tracer. Let's go ahead and spectate him. He's going to go up and over top and try to aim at getting into that back line. He's going way over right now. Teamfight is going down on the point right now with a ton of damage being exchanged Rupee does get the first pick for the side of Crossfade as he picks up a 2-piece on Snow and Cynic. That's how you got to do it. He ends up getting 3 in that exchange. Mac also falling to him. There's a 4th one finishing off Jaru. We got to spectate this, man. That dude is just nailing it for his team right now.
Unfortunately, with Onigod being forced so far off the point and then having a Genji as your versus the Soldier as the solo DPS, they were just unable to win the shield war in that situation.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's going to happen sometimes, unfortunately. We do got a couple of ults ready to go, though. Funk and Haunt Machine both ready. We're going to spectate a little bit of Rupee action here and see what he can do. See if he can make some work come out with a good nail onto Onigod and then finishing off Cynic as well. Funk gets a good pin onto Mac, and that's gonna be yet another hold for Crossfade. So, doing exactly what Toronto Esports did to them on the defense, Crossfade just really clutching it out and able to hold on here so far.
Yeah, we see Rupee assuming Note's role, playing really, really well on the Roadhog, getting those picks and protecting his backline at the same time. Oh, huge hook here, as I say that, destroying Note. Onigod is kind of trapped behind enemy lines here, gets the pulse bomb off, but doesn't get the kill. So that's just going to be another pick and another delayed attempt from the side of Toronto Esports. They're going to have to wait for Note to come back before they can make this push.
Right, and I mean, that first pick leading off with Rupee yet again, that he seems to be the one to watch for his team on the Crossfade side of things. He's just putting in so much work. We're going to see Madman and Zabby with their ults up. There's a big Earth Shatter as he gets a 4-piece on that with a good pin. Swings the hammer around, finishing off Snow. Jaru does try his hand at getting a kill for the side of Toronto Esports, but he is promptly dealt with by Funk, and now Funk is on the hunt. He was on the hunt, I guess, to finish off Cynic. Cynic able to survive somehow in that exchange. Toronto Esports really on the fence here. They're at 1 minute and 40 seconds remaining on the clock. What do you think they're going to have to do to approach this thing differently?
I don't know. They're gonna. It seems right now every time they try and mount an attack, it's 1 or 2 ults are being used. I mean, it's extremely well, and there the ultimate is blocked. The Reinhardt ult is not used.
It is not, and the good charge does come out from Funk, and the whole hog from Rupee picks up a 2-piece in that exchange as well. Onigod does throw out the pulse bomb and get one on Haunt Machine, but for the most part, it is all red as Crossfade is just dominating the defense, able to hold them to now 1 minute on the clock. That is exactly what we talked about at the start of this, too. Crossfade definitely seems like they're in a different mindset than they were on the offense. They were able to clutch up on the offense at points, but it looked like Toronto had them beat here and there. Now it's just all Crossfade. Here comes the Dragon Blade coming out. We do see the nano-boosted Reinhardt. Cynic just swinging hammer on point. Finishes off Funk. The beat drop does come out for the side of Toronto, trying to alleviate a little pressure as Onigod and Note pick up one apiece in a good takedown of that mech for Cynic to finish off Mahugler. Onigod helping out with that one. Snow does get picked in the process, but Toronto Esports not able to hold on that one. Or I'm sorry, Crossfade not able to hold on that one.
Yeah, all the credit there goes to Onigod. After he got that initial pick on the Ana in that 2 versus 1 situation, he actually went all the way back to the other team's base, spawn point, to Crossfade's spawn point, and killed the Ana again off spawn. And she then she was calling her teammates to help her, forced some people to come back. They couldn't get there in time. The Ana went down, and that split up the Crossfade defense enough for Toronto Esports to effectively push it to the point.
Right, and we've got a couple more ults ready to go as far as on either side. Toronto Esports side of the house, they do have Note ready if they need to zone or get him off, and they are going to do that right now. Starting their push, utilizing that Reinhardt shield, and there's that Earth Shatter coming in from Cynic as he gets a good pin. He ends up getting a good pick on it as he charges Madman, and then another hook from Note as he hooks in Rupee, telling him, you're not the only Roadhog in the game, sir. Finishing him off. Mahugler does get a quick pick, and there's another pick from Note as he takes out Haunt Machine. Very aggressive gameplay out of Toronto Esports as they push forward and continue to do so, leaving their Lucio behind to push the payload. I think a very solid play from Toronto, definitely moving a lot better through this street phase than we saw Crossfade do.
Yeah, they moved through this phase completely uncontested, essentially, right? Like, the payload never stopped moving, so that's exactly what you want, and that's exactly what we said they needed to do in order to give themselves a chance to win, because look how close the final destination, the payload, is to this checkpoint. It's not very far at all. They don't have to get it very far, so Crossfade's gonna have to stop them right here.
Right, and here comes the Dragon Blade from Jaro. He's made work with it before. Looks like he is going to get one. We do see the beat drop coming in, but Jaro with another 2-piece. A good Earth Shatter, and he gets a pin onto Jaro. Finishes off Snowy. Now he's on the hunt for Note. He's going to shield up and let his Diva do some work here as Zabby finishes off Cynic. So a good hold from Crossfade here very much some props to them. They were able to utilize but 2 ults in that stop, and they've still got 3 on the table.
Yeah, a little bit of miscommunication there coming out from the side of Toronto Esports. Jaru, Anna managed to sleep a target. I believe it was the opposing Anna, Haunt Machine. And Jaru actually chose, while he was ulted, to kill that target, and Reinhardt charged him at the same time. So Reinhardt ended up charging nothing and just ended up in the back line.
Yeah, very much so. Now we got another fight going on the point here as they start making their way through. There's that hammer down, the Earth Shatter rather, coming in from Cynic, and the beat drop coming in. It looks like Toronto's in it to win it on this one. Diva Bomb does go out. Mahugler gets nothing with that as Note throws out the whole hog to finish off Mahugler. Zabi in some trouble right now, trying to save and play his life. Matman does end up dropping. It looks like it's all trickle from this point forward for Cross as they start making their way back to the payload. Nope, it's going to be over. Toronto Esports going to finish off and get that 3-over-2 as Toronto wins game number 1 here in the semifinals.
Yeah, I mean, the key for them really was how efficiently they pushed through that streets phase, because that gave them 3 minutes, that gave them plenty of time. And on that first fight, you know, it didn't necessarily go their way, but they were able to regroup, come back, and just completely wipe the floor. Yeah, just wipe the floor with Crossfade and get the push they needed.
Yeah, they did absolutely spectacular on that.
Excellent Jaru play. Honestly, a lot of the players in this game have impressed me immediately. There's a lot of talent on both these sides. This is going to be a fun series to watch.
It very much is. I can't wait for this and going forward after this to see what happens and see kind of who ends up playing out into the finals. We do have the other side of the semifinals ready to go, and it looks like it's going to be between Team Stratton and Sin Eaters. So Sin Eaters, again, like I was telling you earlier, very talented team, and I'm very excited to see what they can do with their roster against Team Stratton.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, how one of these teams progresses through the tournament. But at this point, it's still so early that I'm just excited to see how both these teams kind of play. And what I'm really interested in, what I really want to see from both of these teams is variability and the ability to play multiple heroes and show some flexibility, right? Because in a tournament, especially when it's being played online, and this qualifies you for yet another tournament, what's really going to show and guarantee your team some long-term success is the ability to have multiple strategies that you can execute effectively.
Oh, most definitely. And right now we're waiting for Crossfade to choose the map. We do have the map pool up for you guys on the OW draft. It's going to be between Ilios or Dorado. Looks like they are going to be going to Dorado. Now we got to see if they want attack or defense. But I'm very excited to see a Dorado pick. King of the Hill would have been nice, I think, to change it up a little bit, but they were so close as it was on the payload map that I think that they can put in some work on this one. I think it probably is a good choice for them.
Yeah, definitely. And the fact that it's a payload map strictly instead of a hybrid map, that does make a difference, right? For some teams, we obviously see both of these teams don't really like that 2CP game type, as it was all completely banned out, right?
Right.
So neither of them were interested in playing that. So maybe that hybrid game type is slightly better for Toronto Esports than it is for Crossfade. That's a possibility.
Yeah, it could very well be.
But we don't really know. So I'm excited to see this. This is a very interesting payload map. It's considered one of the harder ones to push through, right? There's a lot of really good choke points, a lot of very interesting uses, especially on that second phase of height. Winston's very good here. Orisa, I think, could be very interesting using her grab to pull people if they set up top, pull them off the top, kind of negate any ability for them to set up and get height advantage on you.
Right.
So I'm very interested to see what these teams pull out. And the Anna play already, we've seen a lot more Anna than we saw yesterday. I think
almost
there was an
definitely
Anna in that entire game. So in one
well,
game,
I mean,
we saw more
you're
Anna
talking
than we saw in the entire...
between. Also, you got to remember you're talking between console and PC. PC, Anna a lot more prevalent of a pick due to the fact that she's a little bit easier to play on the PC side. There are very few skilled Annas on the console side, whether it be Xbox or PC, and that's just the nature of the beast when it comes down to it. I do know a couple that are just absolutely amazing on console, but the PC scene, it's just gonna be out there much more, and you're not gonna see. Usually, you don't see as much Pharah and whatnot as well, due to that kind of skill with the trigger that you're gonna see on the PC scene. We might end up seeing one though with Crossfade on the defense.
Yeah. Okay. Very interesting. I hope we do. I really like seeing Pharah. She's a very fun character to watch. You know, brings a lot to the table. But we haven't seen any Mercy yet either, and I'm guessing that's, you know, in the PC scene, it's very easy to kill her, right? You have incredibly talented McCrees and soldiers and Genjis,
well, not just that, but the flankers as well coming in the back lines, able to eat them up. I have seen a few here and there as far as talent that are able to survive and make do. But yeah, I mean, the picks kind of speak for themselves when it comes down to it.
Yeah, it's a rough world. The PC's a rough world for Mercies.
All right, so we are starting it up. This is going to be map number 2 here, guys. Map number 2 in the semifinals between Crossfade and Toronto Esports. Toronto Esports taking map number 1 with a 3-2 victory on Kings Row. They are going to be on the attack to start things off here. And now it looks like they're going to be coming out with a 2-2-2 setup, kind of similar to what we saw, exactly similar, as a matter of fact, to what we saw on Kings Row. So very excited to see what these guys can do with that.
Yeah, it looks like Crossfade electing to change things up here and take defense as well. So you see some initial flanking coming on from the side of Toronto Esports. Again, the Tracer being taken very low, but Anna being able to heal up. And this is going to be, you know, up until this first choke point, it's really just a waiting game. And now this is where the fight's going to break out as it tries to progress.
Right, we see Overguard already taken up, and he's got his pulse bomb ready to go. Watch for that to come out in this back line here. He's after the soldier and the Anna back there. Throws out the pulse bomb. Doesn't get anybody with it, but does get the soldier out of there. And Cynic takes charge with a great charge and finishes off not only Matman, but puts Jaro in a great position to finish off too, as he gets Mahugler and one other as well. That's just some excellent gameplay coming out of the Toronto Esports side of the house as they make their way through this first point and able to cap it in a very, very quick time. One team fight down, 5.5 minutes remaining on the clock for the side of Toronto Esports to move this thing through this street phase here.
Yeah, that was incredibly clean. I mean, they lost no members on that fight and systematically eliminated the members of Crossfade. So if you're Toronto Esports, especially after that last win, you got to be feeling very good right now. And you see the Genji and the Roadhog setting up top for a sneaky play here.
Right, watch for that Anna. She does have her nano boost ready to go. She has been known to throw it on Jaru from time to time here. So look to see that come out here quite possibly as Jaru's ultimate starts to take his way up. Some very dominant gameplay out of Crossfade. Very aggressive gameplay, as a matter of fact, coming through as they make a aggressive attack. There's that Dragon Blade coming in, but he's so low on the health. Now he's Anna canistered, so he's anti-healed at the moment, not able to get in. He does end up getting the heals and pursuing the remainder of the team. Cynic just putting in the work, swing the hammer, gets the Diva out of the mech, and Overguard finishing off Zabi. We do see Jaro now still on the attack as he pressures Matman up top. That soldier does end up finishing him off with a great helix though.
Yeah, that was an incredible play from Toronto Esports to win that entire team fight, but major props to Haunt Machine for essentially shutting down 2 ults with just the use of his biotic grenade. You know, putting the anti-healing on the Genji forced him to sit way far back. He knew he could not die, and it negated the Dragon Blade and the Nano Boost.
It really did. He's been doing some terrific work with that Anna. Haunt Machine ready to go with his Nano, so look to see that come out. We do got a couple of ults taken up now for the side of Crossfade with Funk, Rupee, Matman, Haunt Machine, and Zabi. So they're sitting on 5 out of their 6 with Mahugler, the only one without on that Diva. For the attacking side, which is Toronto Esports, we got Cynic and Note ready to go with theirs. They're both combining up top. There's that Whole Hog now coming out, and immediately the Earth Shatter comes into play. Unfortunately, though, the Whole Hog does push Note out of the way, and he's not able to finish that off. But they do end up getting the kill on him, utilizing Mahugler there. Rupee finishing off Cynic, and now they finish off the remainder of Toronto Esports as they clear that point, and Toronto Esports is forced to spawn point and has to come back and make a second attempt at it.
Yeah, they're going to have to try again. Unfortunately, you know, they've all put themselves into that really narrow corridor, and Funky had the Earth Shatter up, right?
Right.
So that's just a dream for him. He managed to land a multiple-person Earth Shatter, and from there, it was just a cleanup crew.
It really was. And we got a couple of people asking, when is the Stratton match? It's going to be next up, guys, so stay tuned. It's going to be Sin Eaters versus Stratton up next here at the Haste.net qualifier, first qualifier. So both teams, yeah.
We see them trying up this this top push again. This time, though, Cynic has the Earth Shatter and gets a huge Earth Shatter on 3 people, but no kills.
Yeah, nothing really translating, but Jaro trying to change that for the side of Toronto as he picks up a 2-piece and a good hook. Coming in by Note, ends up hooking down Funk, finishing him off. The Dragon Blade comes out for Jaro, and he finishes off Matman, Snow, and Note finishing off the remainder as they move forward here. Some great gameplay coming out of the side of Toronto Esports on that push.
Yeah, that was terrific. You know, despite not necessarily being able to get the kills off the Earth Shatter and only being able to pick up the kill onto the Genji, or onto Zabi rather, on the loop, they were able to systematically kill everybody else afterwards. It caused enough chaos that it forced Crossfade to kind of break their setup and leave their rank and file, and allowed Toronto Esports to win that fight with ease.
Right, it definitely did. Here comes that Diva Bomb coming out right now. Hopefully he can get a couple on this and allow them to push forward. They don't, but they do zone out Cynic and end up getting him down with that. So that's some good stuff out of that. But Onigod and Note change things up for the side of Toronto Esports as they come in huge for their team. Note picking up a 2-piece, and Jaro getting one in that team fight. Note continuing his onslaught here as he busts the Diva out of the mech and finishes her off. Jaro taking out Zabi, and Toronto Esports is going to continue their march to victory here as they still got 3 minutes remaining on the clock. Very respectable time for Toronto Esports.
Yeah, they have plenty of time left to work with here, and you know, again, it just seems like Toronto Esports is coming out ahead on these team fights almost every single time, and they have 4 ults to work with to the 3. And here's the Dragon Nano Blade.
I'm very excited to see what he can do with that here. We do got the nano boosted Funk on the point, trying to do some work, trying to get things going for his team Crossfade here, but it looks like he might be taken out. He's down to 0 and he's done. Onigod finishing him off. Rupee does get a pick onto Cynic, and now he's on the hunt trying to finish more off, but he gets taken out as well. Jaro picking up 3 in that team fight, one of which was the Diva mech. Note finishing off Mahugler, and that's just some epic gameplay once again out of the Toronto Esports side of things. Now we got Onigod in the back line, but it's going to be enough, and they finished that one off with a 3-0 to start us off here. 2 minutes and 15 seconds on the clock. DQ the casters is what Dr. Penguin is saying. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry trying to cast and run the camera. This is my first time running it on the PC side. I will get things straightened out. I do apologize for that.
That's all right. You know, running the show yourself is incredibly difficult. I've had to do that before, and it's not. I don't envy your job right now. Let's put it that way.
It's no big deal. I'm enjoying it. I'm having fun. This is a pretty good.
Yeah, that was really impressive.
Teams to watch.
I mean, a really good job by Jaru and Snow there to use that like Dragon Blade combo with the Nano Boost, the Nano Blade, I guess. To really distract, and even though they didn't get any kills with it, it kind of forced everybody to scatter, and then Note was able to hide behind Cynic's Reinhardt shield and just pop his ult and just deal massive damage to everybody and just ultimately won them the team fight. It looked like they knew that they had the ult advantage heading into that fight, and they decided, okay guys, let's just blow everything. If we use all of our ults here, they simply will not have any answers to it. They won't have enough to deal with it right now. And that's what they did. And
they did quite well with it. Toronto Esports now going to have their turn at the defense. Crossfade, of course, going to be on the attack here. They've got to get a full 3 out of 3, or they're not going to be going any further in this tournament, with Toronto Esports being 1 game already up for their win on Kings Row. I'm pretty excited to see what Crossfade can do, because they did do some work on Kings Row.
Yeah, they definitely did, so this should be an interesting game, but they're going to have to move through this map quickly if they want to have a chance to win, because you really don't... I mean, capping in overtime is better than not capping, but when the other team has 2 minutes and 17 seconds left, that gives them 3 minutes and 17 seconds left, and you only get a minute left in overtime. And considering how big of a difference just 10 or 20 seconds can make in one of those situations, a couple minutes is almost a guaranteed loss.
Oh, most definitely. We do see them starting to make their way out. Crossfade looks like they're going to elect to go with, once again, the Pharah Mahugler on that one. Instead of going with the 3-2-1 setup, they're going to be going with a standard 2-2-2 combination here, with Mahugler up in the air on the Pharah and Batman being the other DPS. In regards to the defense here, we do see another 2-2-2. They haven't changed their lineup whatsoever. Toronto Esports haven't. They've been doing work with it, so why not keep it going? Jaru does get dropped there by Funk, and that's a good start for Crossfade as they get that first pick. Not only the first pick, but getting that flanker out of the back line. Somebody that's been so impactful to Toronto Esports' gameplay to start things off.
Yeah, no, definitely getting the first pick onto the Genji is absolutely massive. Onigod obviously doing very well as well, being in the back line, causing massive distractions, but unfortunately it was not enough. His team, after that initial Genji pick, just gets rolled through. And despite the Pharah not working, I was actually kind of surprised to see them pick the Pharah again.
Well, she's actually, yeah, she's doing some work on this first initial push here. She's getting what, 2 picks out of that initial confrontation. I think the spread damage coming out from Crossfade's Pharah is a great play to make, especially when you got people like Matman and Rupee there to clean up any of the sort of stuff that goes on in the back line, anybody that's low.
Yeah, exactly. So, I was surprised to see it at the start of the round, but it's definitely working. A huge hook there from Rupee, but
Very
yeah,
huge.
they managed to get the kill. A flying hook out of the Tracer.
But here comes the Earth Shatter coming down from Funk. We do got the Dragon Blade going on from Jaru. He picks off Haunt. There's Mahoogler with the Rocket Barrage getting one. Whole Hog comes out from Rupee. He does get one as well. Madman chiming in on that Soldier, taking out Cynic. And they did use a lot of ults to make that happen, but very, very constructive ults. They had a lot of value out of them. None were wasted.
No, definitely not. They managed to get the Earth Shatter to shut down the blade too, so that was really good. That Earth Shatter was huge. That's what won them the fight.
Oh, most definitely able to pin down and stop some people. Here comes the Attack Visor coming out from Madman right now. He's got the Nano Boost. He's going to be doing some work on this one. Shield is up, but he does get a 3-piece in this exchange. Picking up a 4th as he takes out Jaru. Madman just going nuts on that Soldier right now. He's after Onigotten. Mahoogler finishes him off, but Madman put in the work to make it happen. Onigodd switching off the Tracer and going to the McCree now. I think a pretty viable pick for the Toronto esports side. Obviously, to try to contest a little bit of Mahoogler's action that he's got going on. Toronto esports very quickly making those changes. They are going to elect to take defense up top, but a good hook does come in from Rupee, and there's the Bionic onto the remainder of Crossfade as they start to move through here. Funk does pick up one, taking out Cynic. Mahoogler gets one onto Mac. There's Mahoogler once again getting another one. So McCree not being as effective as he wants to be here as Mahoogler continues his little tirade against this team here. There's High Noon, Deadeye in the back. He gets nothing out of that as he gets zoned out by Matman, putting in the work here. Some good stuff coming out from the side of Crossfade as they move through. There's that Rocket Barrage once again coming out, but nothing coming from that as Note picks up a 2-piece in that team fight. Some great stuff from the defense of Toronto. They were managing to clutch up on that one. A good long-range hook from Rupee finishes off Jaru, but they're already in full reverse mode. It's not going to do much at this point. Crossfade doing some work here. They've still got a ton of time on the clock, though.
Yeah, they're going to have to back off and regroup, but that last fight got them a lot of progress. Rupee, despite being taken down early, got 2 or 3 crucial hooks and just put in some huge work, soaked up damage for his team as well. So he's playing really, really well in this offense.
He really
they're
is.
Have to be much more aware of him, much more aware, because right now he's just being allowed to roam where he wants and get the picks that he wants to get.
They're definitely going to have to respect that hook a little bit because he has been landing them if they give him the option. So he is slept right now, so that's a little bit of breathing room for the side of Toronto esports. But now we got the Nano Boost once again going on to Matman as he cleans house, finishing off Mac, and now he takes out Note. There's that Deadeye going on in the back. Looks like they are going to be protected though as they get to zone onto the payload. They're going to be able to cap it with a much faster time than Toronto esports, over a full minute faster as a matter of fact.
Yeah, no, that's a very interesting situation because you head into this game thinking, okay, we really, really need to make sure we cap this with at least a minute or 2 left. We don't want to put ourselves at a huge disadvantage here, and instead you're heading into the overtime with a big advantage. So it's like the opposite of what they were, what you're fearing, I guess, heading into that round.
Right.
And definitely, if you're Toronto esports, maybe a little bit overconfident heading into that defense. You won game 1. You capped on the first part of game 2, so you're like, okay, guys, we got this. We just got to hold them and we win. No problem.
Right.
And maybe you get a little lackadaisical. So maybe we'll see a slightly different team here, a little bit more, holding their mouse a little bit tighter. But we'll see.
What do you think about the Mei pick that's coming out here? Obviously, a great tactic when it comes down to the stall, if she's able to pull it off. I haven't really seen much of Mahoogler, although been on a few different characters now and excelled at all of them. I would expect the Mei to be right up there as well. What do you think about the Mei pick?
I actually really like it here because like I said, the first time the Pharah on defense didn't really seem to work out for them, right? So maybe they're kind of acknowledging offense has worked out for us, but the Pharah on defense not so much. Let's run the Mei instead. Gives us a lot of stall, which in an overtime situation is really what you want to do, right? You want to be able to run as much time off the clock as possible in this sudden death type of round. They only have 2 minutes to go through, so if you can wipe them once or just stall a lot of time for your team to get back and force it to be 2 or 3 fights at this first point, you put yourself in a very good situation. And a huge pick right away again from Rupee. So just an absolutely performance
amazing from Rupee. That guy just dominating the gameplay for the side of Crossfade.
You know, Note started off as the better Roadhog, impressing us right away at the beginning of King's Road, getting off a few of those picks. But ever since then, really, Note's had his moments since then, but Rupee's really been...
He's been the more consistent of the Roadhogs out of the two of them. That's for sure. We do see Toronto Esports electing to go around the backside now, and the Maywall obviously ready to go up to isolate and zone out a couple of the people. As soon as that Reinhardt goes, there he is. He is down. He does get the charge off, but he's in some trouble. Madman finishing him off. Now they're stuck in the choke. Oni finishes off Zabi. Note ends up dropping to Rupee in the back line. Is going to be Onigod, but he does get spotted right away. The freeze trying to go on to Jaru. He gets taken out by Madman, and that's a very successful hold if you're the side of Crossfade. They do got to deal with the remainder as far as cleanup on Onigod, which they do, but just an astonishing cleanup effort for the side of Crossfade.
Yeah, this makes it very, very difficult right now if you're Toronto Esports, because you're trying to play Genji and Tracer. You're trying to dive that backline and eliminate those supports. You're trying to eliminate that Ana and eliminate that Zenyatta. But when you do that, you're getting Discord orbed, and then you have a Roadhog who's hitting all of his hooks, and you have a Mei there to slow you down and shoot you in the face if she freezes you. So you have to be really, you have to be really frustrated right now if you're on the side of Toronto Esports.
Very much so. You definitely have to be. They are starting to make their move now as they get that first pick onto Mahugler. That's what you need to do. Note picking up another one. I think he might have heard you talking smack about his Roadhog here as he picks up another one, taking out Funk. And Cynic in a little bit of trouble here. He does get the pick onto Rupee. Jaru finishes off. This could be it here. Toronto Esports putting in some work. They might be able to get this thing going as they push through. They do finish off the remainder. They got 4 ults on the table. Now look at the side of Crossfade. They are sitting on 2 with Funk and Rupee ready to go. But I don't know, man. Toronto Esports looks like they found their stride in that last push.
Yeah, it was like, you know, the flankers were saying, hey guys, they've got too much protection on their backline. We can't do anything. So Note's like, okay guys, don't worry. I got this. And just throws in the hook, immediately kills Mei, and a huge pulse bomb coming out from Overguard.
He jumped and cleared the gap. And Tony Hawk has nothing on this guy. Clears the gap, throws in the pulse bomb, picks up one, and now he's on the hunt, trying to finish off the Roadhog on the side, which I think that's a great play. If you are Onigod, you're essentially taking one guy out of the fight, which he's been a substantial part of the fight, Rupee has. So for him to just 1v1 him and allow the remainder of Toronto Esports to move through the rest of the team, I think that's a terrific effort. He does already have his pulse bomb up and ready to go. We are spectating him for the moment being, guys. He has been putting in some work. Very excited. There he goes with another pulse bomb. Ends up throwing it in. Does end up missing it, though, unfortunately, but a very valiant effort on his behalf. There's that Earthshatter coming in now from the Reinhardt, and the breakdown on Toronto, and the Transcendence once again coming out as well. Snow and Onigod picking up one apiece here. In some trouble is Cynic. He gets taken down with a good flame strike from Funk. The Lucio trying to put in some work, but we do have up top Madman going nuts, but he gets slept. Very uneventful for the man, Madman. He's been putting in work, but they knew what to do on that one. Snow finishing him off.
Has been such a nuisance. I mean, he's just constantly, in the King's Row game we saw, he was the reason that they capped that first point when it looked like they might get full health. And then here again, just on the second point, just causing such an insane amount of distraction that he basically, because of what he did on that second point, it allowed Toronto Esports to walk through virtually uncontested until the end. And then some huge play, a brilliant Ana sleep dart to stop the Soldier ult as well.
Right, we do got Mahugler with the Mei ult. He's going to throw that in right now and try to either zone or at least get a pick or two here as he ends up freezing a couple people down, and we do have the nano boost going out as well, and Mahugler finishing off too. There's that Dragon Blade now coming out. Jaru doing some work, picks up a 3-piece in all of that, finishing off Zabi, getting Mahugler and Funk all down. Now he's trying to clean up his little bit of a mess as Onigod helps him out. Overtime timer, guys, is still ticking down. Toronto Esports with an amazing rally here, able to push this thing to almost the 3rd point here with overtime timer going down. They do have their flankers both on point, so look for them to come out here. We do see Funk trying to get a good Earthshatter down. There's that anti onto Jaru, who gets finished off by Rupee. Rupee with an amazing swap over to that Winston. I think that was a great play for him. Mahugler picking up a 2-piece in that onto Snow and one other here, and then finishing off Mac. That's going to conclude that one. 75.39, which is quite respectable considering the time that they had to do so.
Yeah, and unfortunately, you know, Ana Snow coming back from the spawn on offense just a little bit further away than the spawn on defense, so he gets to the fight maybe a second after the opposing team's Ana, and the other Ana gets the crossfades Anna, gets the biotic nade in, gets that anti-healing buff, basically negates Anna from the fight.
Right.
But incredible play from Jaru and Onigod on that entire push. I mean, both of those guys just coming up clutch time after time, getting the multiple kills on the team that they needed to be able to push that essentially the entire way through the map. I mean, if you get the payload to that point after a full offensive round, you're not upset.
Oh, definitely not.
The fact that they basically have a full offensive round to work with and only worth of distance to work with, and the other team only has 3.5 minutes on the clock, I'd say you're in a pretty good spot.
Oh, definitely. And if you're crossfade right now, you're kind of biting nails, right? I mean, there's a good distance. I mean, you got 3 minutes and 31, which is significantly more time than Toronto Esports had. But at the end of the day, that very dominant performance from Toronto Esports has got to have you, question yourself a little bit. Crossfade definitely needing to get the push. They're down 1 map to none already. They don't win this one. They don't advance, but they are already qualified for the final tournament, which is going to be taking place on the 20th. So even if they lose, a valiant effort from them, and they've got time to go back to the drawing board and come up with a new plan, because they already know who they're going to be facing, at least, one of the teams they're going to be facing. We do have Mahugler on the camera right now trying to put in some work. He's on the hunt, trying to finish off Jaru. Jaru in the back causing all sorts of problems for this crossfade team as Mahugler gets taken down by Jaru. But fortunately enough, Rupee switches off and is now on the Tracer and putting in work with that as he picks up a 2-piece to lead things off here. Some very aggressive gameplay though out of Toronto as they push in to Crossfade. Crossfade obviously making them pay for that though.
Yeah, they definitely made them pay, but it looks like Toronto's just decided we want to fight them as many times as possible, stall this payload as much as possible, because they have so far to go that just getting, just the distance alone is going to take them nearly that amount of time to push the payload that far, right?
Right.
So if you can just constantly keep them fighting, constantly wipe them, maybe hold on to your ults. And I find it very interesting, though, that they've gone with the Tracer on Rupee. He's been playing fantastic on the Roadhog, but I guess they wanted an answer to Onigod's Tracer.
Right, and he's been putting in work so far. There's that Pulse Bomb coming out, and he lands that onto Cynic, finishing him off. It's going to be a one-man show, but he does end up getting the cap. So good job for the side of Crossfade on that one, able to secure that against this amazing Toronto Esports team here. Can't say enough about this Rupee guy. He seems just very talented, regardless of the character that he's playing. I'm very much enjoying it. We do see in the Twitch chat, McDragonWatch saying Toronto Raptors are proud of Toronto Esports. Do you have anything to say on that, since you're also from Toronto, Trooper?
Well, I know the Raptors are getting involved with NBA 2K, and that the whole NBA league is doing sports league essentially for every team, and they're taking part in that. So I think they definitely like esports and basketball in general. The players seem to like esports, so I would agree. I would say they're probably right. Huge, absolute huge, though.
Huge. It's very amazing. Mahugler does pick up a 2-piece with that rocket barrage. We do got Onigod waiting behind. We've seen that time and time again with Tracers able to hide under the payload and stall things out without being noticed. He does get spotted though, and he's able to stall a little bit of time here, but he does end up getting picked off. Funk finishing him off. We do got a couple of ults ready to go on both sides of the fence. Toronto Esports having Snow and Jaru, so look out for that nano boosted Dragon Blade that they've come pretty staple to using here. I'm sure it's going to be coming out here in just a minute. There's the Dragon Blade coming out right now. We don't have the nano boost on him, but he is still putting in work as he takes out Snow. It looks like he's turning his tide, trying to finish off the other support, which is the Lucio, which is being played by Zabi. He's not going to be able to finish that, but he does take out Hot Machine and Mahugler with a terrific dash. Onigod finishing him off. There's that Pulse Bomb coming out from Onigod as he finishes off Funk. Toronto Esports really trying to clutch things up in these final seconds. 30 seconds on the clock for them. Lucio still remaining on the point. Now Jaru is turning his vision at him with the help of Onigod, trying to take him out. Rupee obviously coming in for the side of Crossfade to relieve a little bit of pressure off there Lucio, allowing him to survive that fight. So Crossfade now with their backs against the wall, 10 seconds left. This is going to be their final push where they're allowed to get off the payload. Even during this push though, they're going to have to maintain a presence on that payload or risk losing the match. So very interesting that we see Jaru sticking with the Genji, even though we've had the Winston out on the clock for the side of Crossfade this entire time.
Yeah, it's very interesting because that's a really hard counter, but I mean, I guess Jaru's just confident in his Genji. He's been doing work with it anyway.
Well, I mean, he just picked up a 3-piece with that Dragon Blade. Now he's working on his 4th in the team fight, trying to take out the remainder, which is Rupee, stalling out. He does end up taking him out. Overtime timer taken down. Crossfade ends up not advancing. Toronto Esports winning this 2-0, 2 maps to none rather, to move on to the finals. Some amazing gameplay from both of these teams. Very excited to see both of them in the finals tournament on the 20th.
Yeah, both these teams have a lot of talent, clearly. So it'll be interesting to see, how they evolve, and an advantage both of these teams have from playing today and in this tournament rather than in the tournament the weekend before is now they can kind of watch all the other teams qualify, and they can develop new strategies. They can pick up new heroes. They can do all sorts of that development over the next few weeks, whereas other teams will have much less time to do that without being scouted.
Right. I'm sure there's a couple of people, definitely, a couple of the teams out there that are going to be in future qualifiers that do plan on watching this stream. I know we've got a couple in here already, scouting for their teams for their future tournaments. I have spoken with a bunch of the higher ranked, Gosu ranked teams, and a lot of them do intend on competing in the next 2 qualifiers. Remember, guys, we do have 2 more qualifiers after this one. Not today, but we are going to have one on the 6th and then one on the 13th, with the finals coming into play on the 20th. So big grats to Toronto Esports as they move on into the finals. We're going to be moving into the Sin Eaters game, and they're going against Team Stratton, and that's going to be very exciting. Let me go ahead and pull this bracket up so you guys can see that over here. Sin Eaters versus Team Stratton up next. Toronto Esports taking a clean 2-0 victory over Crossfade. So congratulations to them on that one for moving into the finals. Very excited to see what they can do going forward.
Yeah, me too. This will be very interesting to see. So now we have, the series that it seems that Chad has been asking about. We got Sin Eaters in Stratum. Is that how you say the team name?
Yeah.
So this should be really fun. And now we have Toronto Esports in the finals, so they get to, take a break, relax a little bit, and watch this series that's coming up and see who they get to play. Do a little bit of scouting, as I'm sure the other teams were just doing against them. So
right. And guys, if you haven't done it yet, make sure to head on over to Haste.net. Those guys are putting up the prize pool for this tournament. We are talking to other sponsors as well for coming on board, but Haste.net is where you want to go. Those guys, they're like a They help your internet out. If you've got somewhat of decently high ping or MS or whatever latency, whatever you happen to call it for whatever particular game you're playing, and you want to lower that down a bit, make sure to go to Haste.net. I'll get a link over into the Twitch chat here in just a moment so that you guys can operate over there. We do have like this beta program that they're kind of throwing up here. Let me see if I can find it. That way you guys can get into that, because it's some awesome stuff. I know I've tried them out, and those guys are just absolutely amazing with what they do. They mainly work in Overwatch, so if you happen to be in Overwatch and you notice your ping might be a little bit too high, go check them out, Haste.net, and see what all they've got going on over there and see how they can help you out. Have you ever tried any of those internet helping kind of things?
No, I'm because I've done some like live talk shows and stuff like that and other titles. I've always basically paid for really good internet.
Right.
I've always made sure it was really stable. It's just something that I put on my expense list, and it's something that I make sure to always get the best internet I can.
Right.
And thankfully, living in a city like Toronto, it's not the best internet in the world, but it's pretty solid.
Right. We're starting to get all these matches lined up, guys, so bear with us while we do all this. Very exciting stuff, though. Sin Eaters versus Team Stratton coming up next, as you guys can see on the brackets.
Are we just waiting for them to join the lobby, or what's
right? Yeah, I'm getting them in right now. We've already got one of the teams in, which is Sin Eaters. We've already got them in. They're working on finishing things up, and then I'm going to start up the OW draft so that they can have their little time at map voting, and then from there we'll move forward.
All right, sounds good. Sounds good.
So give us just a minute, guys, while we go through this. Sorry for the lower level of production value. I'm kind of a one-man show with Trooper helping me out at casting, doing a terrific job. Let's give a round of applause for this man Trooper here, being a real trooper. Another dad joke. Gotta love it, right?
You're just full of those. So I got a question for you. Does that just come with being a dad? Like, as soon as you have your first child,
Yeah,
do you
you
just
know, I think,
automatically have these
yeah.
awful jokes spawn into your mind where you're just
Right,
like,
that's
oh, I
like,
should tell
yeah. I
this?
mean, it's kind of like when you level up in video games or whatever, you get new abilities or whatever. As soon as the kid pops out, all of a sudden, boom, dad jokes just pop into your head, and you're like, really, really, I can really do without these, but I guess I'll use them. Hey, some of them are
That's
decent.
awesome.
Most of them aren't,
Yeah,
but some of them are.
I'm looking forward to that day. We'll see what
It's
happens.
an exciting time. I can tell you that. I really can. I'm gonna get Seg in here right now, or Segmeyer in here right now. That's for Team Stratton. I think that's the captain for him, for their team rather. And we're gonna get this going down. I'm gonna transfer things over to the Overwatch screen so that you guys can see the team joining in while I get the OW draft prepared. And we'll be moving right along, guys. This is gonna be the second semifinal match here between Sin Eaters and Team Stratton. So
Yeah,
as
it
far,
should be a good one.
yeah, oh,
Should be a good
definitely.
one. So have they done the Overwatch map draft yet, or have they not?
We're
Do we
working on
still
it
have to do
right
that?
now. I'm getting the
Okay, cool.
links out to both teams,
Cool.
and
Wanna
we're
send
gonna
that to
make
me
this
as well?
work. Both teams now have the Overwatch draft links. We are hearing now that Sin Eaters did have to change their roster up prior to the tournament. They are going to be running with a different tank, which is unfortunate for them, but they're a very talented team, so I'm sure they're going to make do with the tank that they're going to have on the roster. So I'm very excited to see what they can do moving forward with that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, a roster shuffle right before a tournament isn't the best thing, especially because sometimes you have set plays where certain people swap to certain heroes, and sometimes it's just the the unspoken advantage, I guess, to having a teammate for a long time is that you just really begin to develop like a sixth sense for where they are, how they play. You know that when they're presented with a certain situation or when a certain situation arises in game, how that person is going to react, right? Because you've seen them react to so many different situations before that you have an idea of what their thought process is and how they think about the game and how they're going to go from step A to step B, which you obviously don't have with somebody who just pick up. So maybe that synergy will be a little bit lost, and we'll see how he can fit in and if he's able to do his role sufficiently well for Sin Eaters to still get the victory.
Most definitely. Both teams are now into the map draft. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that up on the screen for you guys to watch right now as they kind of select out where they want to go. Team Stratton up first to ban. Got about 5 seconds to choose where they want to go.
Cool. So we'll see if we get some opposite. I'd like to see some 2CP just because we haven't seen that, and both teams kind of banded out, right? In the last match. So
Right.
I'd like to see some King of the Hill too, because we didn't get to see that either. We just saw payload and hybrid. So it'd be nice to see these teams swap it up, but obviously they're not going to pick what we want to see. They're going to pick the maps that they're best on and they're most comfortable on, and they feel like they have the best shot at winning. So we'll see what the selections come through here as.
Just for Onigod's sake, since he managed to mention it, I did turn off kill cam, so those are off the table. Kings Row and Watchpoint Gibraltar both now down. I'm kind of excited to see what they do here with their map bans.
Yeah, this will be interesting. So no Kings Row, which is we've seen a lot of that map. So as much as I like it, I'm not upset that map's been banned out.
All right, Volskaya and Dorado now being picked. It's back on Team Stratton's side of things. What do you guys think, Twitch chat? I'm not able to view you right now since I'm pulling up and holding this up for you guys right now, but
I can see them.
Yeah, what are you guys thinking? Actually, I might be able to. Yeah, I can pull them over to this screen. There we go. I'll pull them over to this screen and we'll make it work that way.
What maps do you guys want to see? What are some of the favorite maps in Twitch chat right now? I'm actually kind of curious. Because I feel like I have really weird map preferences because my friend is one of those guys who plays Symmetra and Torbjorn.
You got one of those.
So there's a few maps that I like because we're kind of the people you hate to play against. But
Right.
I'm interested to see what people like to play. Okay, I've got a fellow Hollywood lover. I've got a couple of them. I like this chat.
Hey, don't be biased now just because they like Hollywood.
Hey, they like the same things I like. Isn't that how you make friends?
That's how you do it, right? So what I'm seeing now is basically every map that we've already played is off the table, which I'm loving. I'm loving the
Yeah, I
fact
like
that we're
that
gonna see a different map.
Variety. Especially in a game like Overwatch that has so many maps. You know, I think the only time Overwatch really gets stale or I ever really get bored or frustrated with it is when you play the same map like 3 or 4 times. You're like, really, again? We got to do this again? Like, there's so many great maps, right? That there's very few that I kind of see and I'm like, oh, I don't really like this one. So definitely variety is the spice of life, as they say.
I think we might
going
have an
very
issue with
slowly with
OW
it.
draft. I'm trying to get it up right now. These guys are
Yeah.
checking with Furry. Because we're down to Hollywood, Nepal, and Lijiang. Very not standard maps when it comes down to it. And that would be the map pool. Let me make sure that the map draft didn't bug out. Because sometimes OW draft does bug and it doesn't allow you to actually select maps. And it just auto picks for you for some reason. I'm not sure as to why it does it or what causes it. But it sometimes is a case where that happens. So give me just a second to make sure that both teams are selecting what maps they actually want. And it's not auto picking against them here. If not, we're going to be starting on Lijiang, which, I mean, I'm excited for. I love Lijiang. I'm pretty excited to see Lijiang if that's the case.
Yeah, me too. We did see that. We did see a bit of that yesterday. Excuse me. But Nepal, I don't think we saw any of yesterday, which would be fun. That's a fun map to watch. And what was the third one?
It's gonna be Hollywood, Nepal,
Okay.
and Lijiang.
Okay. Well, you already know how I feel about Hollywood, so let's do it.
All right, yeah. Both teams have said that that is the actual draft. That's
Okay.
not a very common setup, but I'm very excited to see this. We got 2 King of the Hills, and then a sort of hybrid one, and I'm more than thrilled to be doing this. These guys are in for a treat here. We're going to be starting on Lijiang, so obviously neither team has to select offense or defense. We're just going to be jumping straight into things. So let me go ahead and get this started up right now.
Traveling to Dorado.
Let's see if these guys come with some different compositions than the ones we just saw.
Oh, dang it! I did select the wrong map here. Back to lobby. I forgot to change the map out. That's my bad, guys. Hashtag deport Gozy. Hashtag deport Gozy. I messed that one up. My fault entirely on that one. Let me set this up for Lijiang here. And there we go. We're going to Lijiang. It's official. It's up there. And now we're starting things up.
All right, now we're going to the right spot.
Right. Once again, my fault on that one.
It's okay.
My fault entirely.
You've got a lot of things on your plate right now, my friend.
Right, exactly. You know, cut me some
wanna-
slack.
I don't want your job.
I don't want your life.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of work. I prefer to just watch and talk.
Oh no, Dr. Penguin's back with the DQ casters. You know what? We're gonna DQ you, Mr. Penguin. We are gonna DQ you.
This man cuts us no slack.
No slack given, none whatsoever. But hey, it is what it is. We made the mistake, so we'll own it. We'll go with it. Well, I made the mistake, I guess. I'll own it.
So it looks like some pretty typical team compositions here. From Stratton, a very, standard, I would say, King of the Hill composition. On the side of Sin Eaters, much less so. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a few changes right before the map actually starts.
Oh, come on, man. You don't think that they're going to come out with the Mercy boosted Torbjorn here?
As
Obviously
viable as
meta.
that strategy sounds.
Obviously meta.
Yeah, so we're actually going to see a pharmacy here. So interesting. The first Mercy we're going to see today on the PC side of things.
But she's probably going to go for that early boop, which is going to be Fury, is how I'm going to pronounce it. Oh, he could get a couple. Ends up not landing that one with a concuss. Unfortunate. Twilo leads things off for the side of Sin Eaters with the first pick onto Seg. Now on the hunt is going to be Spoo as he takes out Broodum. Up in the air, uncontested is Furry. They're definitely going to have to change things up a little bit if you're on the side of Team Stratton to combat against Furry up in the air. Obviously, that needs to happen because he's put in some work. spreading out that damage. Greek with a great boost off the edge. A good Lucio move onto Lag, finishing him off. Furry getting the latest kill onto Blood Raiden. So Sin Eaters is going to get the first percentage out of that team fight. Did anything stand out to you out of the normal for Sin Eaters, or they run it pretty textbook?
It was pretty textbook. They managed to take out the Zenyatta, who was the only threat to the Pharah, really, in that fight. Eliminated him right away with Twilo jumping onto him. And then now you see the Soldier coming out on the side of Stratton to counter that Pharah, give them a few more options, and immediately the fight going their direction with the early pick on Zarya.
Right now, Twilo jumping in that back line, putting in some work, picking up a two-piece on that one. Finishing off Brew and finishing off Siege. Goes for the health back, able to survive all by his little Winston Lonesome, and out of the mech is going to go Luke. He's going to be in some trouble here. Spoo finishing that off. Now they're on the hunt trying to finish him off. Luke still over there, getting damage put onto him. And Feedtown takes out Twilo. He is still surviving somehow. No, he ends up getting dropped right now by Fury. And 607 ends up getting dropped as well. B-drop does come out for both sides of the fence as this team fight continues to ensue. There's the rampaging Winston. Twilo putting in some work. The pulse bomb also coming out. Twilo getting the pick with that rampage. Actually getting 3 with the rampaging monkey. Taking out Feedtown and Blood Rain and one other. He's on the hunt trying to take out one more, but Spoo finishes him off before he has a chance to. And now Tucktail and Run is Team Stratton at the moment.
Yeah, that was incredible. I mean, there was early picks coming out from the side of Team Stratton to give them the man advantage in that fight, but Spoo just managed to stay alive for so long on the point, contesting it, running around that central pillar, and just waited for his team to come back, and essentially made them fight that fight twice. And the second time, Team Stratton wasn't as fortunate.
Right, and we're going to be moving into this next team fight here. Sin Eaters still on the point. They're sitting at 90%. Very easy wins for them so far, it looks like. They do get the Mercy taken out though. Brutum popping that tack visor, picks him up, and Blood Rain and Luke combined for a couple more kills, as it looks like Team Stratton might be able to pull this thing out of overtime and swing things starting to go in their favor now. Team Stratton obviously doing some work on that push.
Yeah, then that was really important, but unfortunately, it's already at 99, so they really have to hold this very, very efficiently. They have to be very, very careful with their ultimates. They have 3 ultimates at their disposal. There's only, there's about 2 going to be at the disposal for Sin Eaters. Zarya almost has her ult as well. So they're going to have to be very, very effective with how they use their ults in order to make sure that they can consistently win fights and hold this the entire way and get that 100-0 victory if they want to turn it around.
Right. Now watch out for Decimated. She does have the ult ready to go, so she could have a potential reset here. There goes the drop onto Furry. She's taken out. Decimated now in some trouble, gets picked off, so no res is going to be coming out. Sin Eaters able to hold on here and keep things going in their favor with dang near a full team wipe.
Yeah, that was very impressive. The one thing I've noticed already very quickly is that the Mercy today took a lot longer to get her res than the Mercy Xbox did. So I don't know whether that's the Mercies on Xbox can be a little bit more ballsy or what that is. But the Xbox Mercy seem to have res every 30 seconds.
Right.
We're using it all the time. So maybe a little bit of a misplay there, not popping that res with a few teammates down.
Now here does come the Luke with that Diva ult. Doesn't get anybody with it, but maybe a little bit of zone on that. Feedtown rampaging and picks up a 2-piece on that monkey. God, that is just spectacular. I love seeing some Winston play coming out. Now he's on the hunt trying to take out Fernie, but ends up backing up, allowing Blood Rain to finish off Decimated. And once again, Team Stratton able to hold on. And for those of you that don't know in the Twitch chat, Gozy, which is me, I'm pretty notorious for mispronouncing names. That's kind of my my shtick, I guess. So bear with me. I think Trooper's got the same thing going on, don't you?
Yeah, I do. Sometimes I'm not great with it. But yeah, Strat.
All right, Tack Visor is coming out now for the side of Team Stratton.
Wow.
And he finishes off 1. Luke, Feedtown actually getting 2 and working on a 3rd. What a comeback for Team Stratton. That is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, that was incredible, because on that last push, I mean, Stratton had done an excellent job the entire time of holding them off, but on that final push when they had 75% left, they only had 1 ult to the 3 ults of Sin Eaters, and Decimated never got a single Mercy res off that entire game. So maybe, yeah, you see it changing over to the Ana now. The Mercy was not effective, and they're gonna need to swap that up. So I doubt we'll see another Mercy this game, and maybe not even this series from the side of Sin Eaters.
Right. I'm very excited to see what they do pull out from this point forward. We do see some lineup shuffling for the side of Sin Eaters. 607, that's an interesting name, ends up going with that Roadhog Furry, switching off the Pharah and going to the Zarya. So they're going to be running a triple tank setup on the Sin Eater side of the house. I really do, I like that pick. I really do.
Yeah, much better pick, and I really like the Ana pick as well. Much more consistent with the PC meta, very strong, and doesn't seem to be working out for them though. Early kills going over to Stratton.
Right, Stratton doing some work here as they pick up 2, Twillo and Spoo both down here, and Brutum still putting in some work on that Genji, trying to make sure to clean out the remainder of Sin Eaters. Sin Eaters now have to make another approach here, starting to make their way in. And leading off with that is going to be the Reinhardt in front of the game. Over on the side, we do see the Zenyatta putting himself in harm's way. Twillo gets picked up by Luke. The Ana's in the back being hunted down. Gets taken out by Blood Rain. 6-7 finishes off Brutum. And I think that's going to probably end another one there for the side of Sin Eaters. Yep. Team Stratton just putting in some work.
Yeah, Blood Raiden's been absolutely going off. You know, since that initial really great play from Spoo where he managed to stay alive for so long and just essentially forced Stratton to win the team fight twice, Blood Raiden's really proved to be the more efficient and more effective tracer.
He really has. I mean, now, speaking of tracers, if we take a look over on the Team Stratton side, we do have Blood Raiden ready to go with that Pulse Bomb, so I'm wondering what he's going to do with that, if he's going to just throw it out or wait for maybe Luke. Luke almost ready to go with that Graviton Surge. That's Attack Visor going off in the back on the side of Sin Eaters immediately, though. Team Stratton knows what to do. They end up getting out that Transcendence, trying to save some, ends up not getting much, though. Brutum does end up getting out his Dragon Blade, finishes off one, but it's all for naught as we see Sin Eaters able to just hang in there. I think a good play, though, from Team Stratton. Hold on to your ult. Don't really use any. Just, you know, they're already winning the team fight. Just conserve and wait and move in for the next play.
Yeah, the Zenyatta ult came out, and then after that, they put out the attack visor with the nano boost, and that was just that fight was over after that. So now they have 3 ults to work with, but all 3 of their players with ults get wiped immediately, and only 2 ultimates used from the side of Sin Eaters. So good job only using a few ults in order to win that fight. Anna's getting close to hers, and so is Soldier as well. So they might have those up very soon.
Most definitely. So on the side of Sin Eaters, we do see Greek and Twillo ready to go with their ults. Twillo almost dropping down, but the bead drop saves them. On Geek's side, they are caught up in a Graviton Surge, but looks like they might end up surviving here with a good hammer down. Is Sin Eaters. They're really taking it to him now. 3 picks falling in their favor. Brutum does take out one with a great dash, but Furry just on the hunt now. Finishes off one. Now he's trying to finish off Luke. Takes him out. And yet again, Sin Eaters proving that they know what they're doing here. Able to conserve ults and use them a little bit better than we're seeing out of Stratton.
Yeah, it seemed like everybody on Stratton hit their Q ult button here at the same time. And immediately after, you just saw Reinhardt drop his ult and just kind of counter it because they didn't get any kills with theirs.
Right, the Transcendence is out now for the side of Team Stratton. They're definitely trying to get back to the point here as the timer is continuing to tick up. The Nano Boost is going. Brutum picks up a couple with that Dragon Blade, and now it's all Team Stratton in the kill feed. It just seems very back and forth throughout this series between these two teams.
Yeah, definitely a very evenly matched series so far. Or game, I guess, because this is still the first game. It feels longer because we've already seen a point proceed, but yeah, very back and forth. Brutum on the Genji, very impressive as well. Them forcing him to play Soldier last round might have really worked in their favor.
Most definitely. We do have 2 ults on the table for the side of Sin Eaters. There's that Graviton Surge now coming out for Sin Eaters, and they get a couple picked up into it as Luke ends up falling. In the background, we do see Seg trying to put in some work with that Zenyatta for Team Stratton. He's not really being too terribly effective, although those Discords are working out every once in a while for him here. He is being hunted down, unfortunately, though, by the Zarya of Sin Eaters.
Yeah, that was really the worst case scenario. He wasn't able to contest until 99, and he still died with a pretty late pick, staggering his team and forcing them to wait for him off the spawn. He did just come up now, so we'll see one last push here from from the side of Stratton to see if they can take it back from Sin Eaters, or if Sin Eaters can hold on to bring the game to 1-1.
Well, Blood Raiden could definitely turn things around for him, though. He's got that Pulse Bomb ready to go. If he can land that, maybe on one of the, oh, there it goes. Geek able to get out that breakdown to initiate this team fight. And also the Transcendence coming out on the Team Stratton side of the house. 2 picks automatically falling in favor of Sin Eaters. Blood Raiden trying to equalize it out. There's that Pulse Bomb. He picks up a 2-piece. He ends up getting it back to almost even here, although he does fall. Sin Eaters able to take map number 2 on Li Jiang.
Yeah, that was unfortunate for Blood Raiden. I mean, he got a beautiful pulse bomb. He stuck to the soldier, and the soldier walked into the Ana. So that's a dream scenario. You take out a DPS and a healer, right? But unfortunately, it was a little bit of it was a case of too little, too late. A couple of his teammates had already died, and great hold from Sin Eaters to bring the game back to 1-1. Now
Most
this
definitely.
is a best of 3.
Very amazing work out of both these teams. I'm so excited to see these guys go at it. I love when maps go like this between teams. You know, very back and forth. It's much more entertaining to watch than one-sided onslaughts. Gotta love it.
Yeah. We'll see what comes out here from now. Both teams have won a map. Both teams have kind of fielded each other out a little bit. So we'll see what happens if there's some hero picks that come in differently. We're actually seeing the Furry decimated pharmacy combo again. So I'm interested to see how that works out, because the first round it really didn't work out that well for them, especially on the take back. You just see like the Mercy especially couldn't do much.
Right, we definitely gonna have to watch out for Brutum. He is on that soldier, so potentially he could mitigate Furry if he can get that Discord help, but he doesn't have that Zenyatta on his side anymore. So maybe we'll see that go and help him deal a little bit better with it. But he does pick up the first kill as he takes out Twilo with that Helix and immediately switches over now to go to Decimated, who gets taken out by Feedtown. And Furry is left all alone. Looks like he's going to go in the back and rejoin his comrades, as the first point is going to fall to Team Stratton here.
Yeah, excellent job from Blood Raiden, just doing a bunch of damage, being a distraction, causing people to kind of spin in circles looking for him, and the rest of his team was able to just secure kills, essentially, while all of Sin Eaters were busy trying to hunt him down, and he was able to stay alive the entire time.
Right, now we got Spoo creeping up through that back line with that, oh, he gets taken out before I can even finish my sin as Blood Raiden, proving to be the better tracer on that exchange. Luke taking it to Twilo, and the point does switch over. Unfortunately, Team Stratton was off point for a little bit too long, didn't realize that they had Furry in the backline backcapping that point. Blood Raiden does pick him off, and it's going to switch back over, so it was all for naught in the end of it. They do get a couple of percentage, but Team Stratton immediately recovering the point, able to get the percentages going back in their favor.
I don't know if that decision was made before or after they realized the fight was lost. Maybe realizing, hey, we can at least cap it, prevent them from getting 12%. We get 12% of our own, so it's actually a 24% swing to get that little back cap. It buys you some time, definitely.
Right, it definitely does. If you're looking now, we do see some change-ups on the Sin Eater side. Maybe a little bit late. Decimated switching off the Mercy and going with that Ana, and Furry switching off the Pharah and going with the Zarya. The Rampaging Monkey does take down Furry, and we do got all blue in the kill feed. On the hunt is going to be Bruden as he tries to track down that Lucio to take him out. Blood Raiden helping him out, throwing a couple of tracer bombs his way, finishing him off. Not bombs, but tracer bullets, I guess I should say, to finish him off. So Team Stratton just really holding on and being very dominant here in this particular map on Li Jiang.
Yeah, definitely. I really like the switch back to Ana. The Mercy has just not been working out. I really don't think they should go back to that.
Right. It was quite questionable at the start for them to go with that.
Yeah, so it's just not working in this series. Maybe credit Stratton for doing an excellent job shutting it down, but it's just not working. And unfortunately now they have the ult advantage. They don't have the Ana ult, and they haven't had a Mercy ult, so the game is nearly over, and Ana's only at 50% ult charge, and that's kind of the risk you run when you start with the Ana. And yeah, you
right,
see
and
it
doesn't help either when you've got people from Team Stratton like Blood Raiden and Brutum just picking off Decimated every time they see him, doing very well of controlling those supports.
Well, that's the thing, right? It's not necessarily like that your support player is bad or anything. It's just that, or bad at that hero even, or that hero isn't a good pick in a certain situation. But if somebody's an incredible tracer or an incredible Genji and is just on you the entire game, you have to kind of concede defeat in that minor way so that you can take the major victory of the game or the series, which is more important, right?
Right, and it most definitely is. Hopefully we'll see, it looks like we're going to see them sticking to that Ana and Zarya as opposed to going back to the pharmacy. I love the picks. They're going to go with that triple tank once again for the Sin Eater side. That's what won it for them in the previous one that they ended up taking, was sticking with that. Now they're going to go back to it, and I think that was an excellent choice for them.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you. They really shouldn't be messing with this composition. I don't think it's worked for them so far. But it was a close game, so they're going to have to make sure they execute well, and they can't afford any slippages because it wasn't 100-99.
Most definitely, yeah. We do have Feedtown trying to come in here to disrupt the lineup here of Sin Eaters. He's in that back line, just putting in some work on that Winston, just spreading that damage out. 6-0-7 finishes off Brutum to get the first pick here in favor of Sin Eaters as they continue to push forward. A good hook, though, was landed on the side of Sin Eaters, and Spoo helps 6-7 finish off Feed Town, and that's just some epicness coming out of the Sin Eater side as they continue to trickle the picks in their favor. Spoo finishing off Blood Raiden, Lag, and Brutum both dropping as well. Sig does pick up one, but it's not going to be enough as he's taken out by Furry.
Yeah, 6-7 there, really the star of that fight, landing 3 hooks, securing 3 different picks for his team, and it's really hard to win a fight when the Roadhog is just hooking all your squishies and allowing his team to one-shot them.
Oh, most definitely. The dude has been putting in some amazing work. We're going to spectate him for a minute. Make sure that you guys can capture a little bit of this guy's amazingness as he lands another hook onto Blood Raiden, finishing that off. Now he's on the hunt after the Reinhardt, which is being played by Feed Town on the side of Team Stratton. Siegmeyer in a lot of trouble right now. He does have the Zenyatta ult ready to go, but Feed Town looks like he could drop. There's that beat drop coming in from Lag on the Team Stratton side of the house, trying to save them a little bit of pressure here as Luke is ready to go with the Graviton. They do get the Graviton Surge out, except on the Sin Eater side of the house, and then immediately we get the whole hog coming out as well to finish off 2 for them. They switch the point, and now they are in control once again to start taking things up in their favor on the Sin Eater side of the house.
Yeah, kind of reversal of what we just saw last map, you know, with a little bit of a back cap going on in a lost team fight, so at least you save that 11%, you gave yourself a little bit of a percentage, get yourself on the board, and negate them from getting it themselves.
And once again, 6-7, just putting in work. We see him get a 2-piece right there in this initial team fight. Started things out with the hook onto the Zenyatta Siege and pulling him off the edge, finishing him off. Able to secure the victory for his team, in my opinion. 6-7 just putting in some work on that Roadhog.
Yeah, he really is. This is such a good Roadhog map, too. There's so many hallways and corridors and areas for you to guard. And that whole white room with the health packs and the 2 stairwells is so... And even this entrance is very narrow.
Right. Now we got the Tac Visor coming out from Team Stratton as the Reinhardt start to charge in. Brutum does pick up a 2-piece with that to start this team fight off as Furry drops here. Siege does get 1, taking out Twilo. Now he's on the hunt, finishes off Spoo, and now he's trying to finish off more as 6-7 drops the Blood Raiden. It's gonna go now to Team Stratton side of the house, and we've been in a similar situation to this where Team Stratton's been down, but able to hold on for the entirety to win things.
We have. Feed Town did something there that saved that fight, and it was not on the scoreboard in any way. He charged forward, and his Blood Raiden actually got hooked by 6-7 at the beginning of that fight. But right when the hook animation landed, Reinhardt charged his own Tracer and knocked him out of the hook.
Right. Now in some trouble is going to be Twilo. His shield does get broken. Brutum finishing him off. Here goes Spoo with his own Tac Visor, but he's hammered down. He's going to get no value out of that. Feed Town able to secure that one and hold his team on as he flame strikes down, decimated, to get 2 picks in that team fight. That's some amazing stuff right there.
Yeah, that was a really impressive team wipe. So now we're going to see a little bit of a role reversal from her. Just what we saw a few seconds ago in this round. Very aggressive hold up front here from Strat, holding them back at their choke point from the spawn, and not even really letting them enter the building where the point is.
And they're going to have to watch out here because Luke is so supercharged at the moment, and he's got Graviton Surge ready to go. There's the Graviton now coming out from both sides of the house. Whoever gets the better into this could take this thing. Twilo with a good charge down onto Luke, finishing him off, able to secure that one. And now the Tac Visor comes out from Bruden, able to take out Decimated immediately, though taken out by 6-7. Nano Boost is out onto, I think it was Blood Raiden is where it ended up going out onto. And he's trying to put in some work with that. He finishes off 2, Spoo, and 6-7. Now he's on the hunt trying to finish off the Zarya in the background. He does have his Pulse Bomb ready to go, but it is not necessary. They end up holding on to this thing. Team Stratton could win this first map on Li Zhang here. Last one is going to be Decimated. Once they deal with him, it's over. Team Stratton taking map number 1 here in the Haste semifinals.
Yeah, that was a very impressive display from them. If you're Sin Eaters, I wasn't watching the Ana point of view enough, or Decimated's point of view enough to tell you exactly which one of the two was going on here, but either Sin Eaters is kind of not really doing a good enough job protecting him and just allowing him to be taken out and dying, or Decimated is putting himself in some precarious situations where he's easily being picked, because he was dying a lot at the beginning of those fights. In that final team fight there, he died while he still had Nano Boost available.
Right.
He was not able to get it off before he was taken out. And when he was playing Mercy, we saw a bunch of times he got taken out with Res.
Yep.
So I don't know if he's maybe playing a little bit too aggressively and get to try and get some of those extra healing shots or something and getting caught, or I don't know if maybe his team is just not doing a good enough job of listening to him when he's saying that he needs help or somebody's diving him. Maybe he's not communicating that properly. I'm not entirely sure. But if you're Sin Eaters, that's the thing that you need to focus on heading into the second game is, hey, we have a guy who we got the most healing in the game. He's clearly doing his job on the healing end of things. Let's make sure we can help keep this man alive so that he can continue to do that job and do an even better job for us and ultimately allow our tanks and DPS players to just run over everybody else while they're full health.
Right, most definitely. All right, so we're going to be switching things up. We're going to Hollywood next, so I'm going to have to move Sin Eaters over to the blue team while we get the remainder of them over to the red team. So bear with me for just a second. I'm going to go ahead and pull up a little bit of a different screen for you guys so that you guys can view. Let me make sure to have it on the right screen when I change it so you guys can view the brackets of who's already made it, who's where, and whatnot. So you guys don't have to sit here and watch me change teams over, because that can be quite boring at times.
Well, yeah, they'll be able to see, who's been playing and who is playing. Gives you an idea of the competition.
Right, most definitely. All right, guys, so we are all set back up. If you look at the brackets really quick, we see Sin Eaters versus Team Stratton. Sin Eaters losing the first map to Team Stratton. 2-0 victory is Toronto Esports over Crossfade already waiting for us in the finals. They're going to be the next match on screen, so bear with us, guys, while we get through this one to the next one. And we're going to be starting this one up right now.
Yeah, so no surprise that we see the variation or the change away from the King of the Hill game type, right, after how that one went.
Right.
But that does kind of put you in a weird situation where now the deciding game is a King of the Hill, and does your team feel confident on it?
Right. Let me move these names around here. I did forget to change them on the screen, unfortunately, so they're going to be a little bit incorrect down below above the players, I believe. But make sure to keep an eye on the top of the screen. We've got it set up there for you guys, so no big deal on that one.
Okay, so we'll see what comes out. Decimated on the Ana. So again, safer. I like the Ana more than I like the Mercy, for sure.
Right. I couldn't agree more. I think they did a little bit better when they were running that as opposed to running the pharmacy that they were running earlier.
Yeah, so Geek is going to be on the Torbjorn instead of on the Lucio. An interesting choice. I'm assuming he'll switch back over. This is a really strong point for Torbjorn. The initial point. There's a lot of good spots you can put his turret. There's spots you can get crossfire. You can get some early ult charge at the beginning by sneaking a turret behind them. So this is a really strong Torbjorn point. If they don't get the full hold, I'm assuming he'll switch back to the Lucio that we saw him on last game. But overall, pretty standard teams, because on the Stratton side of things, it just looks like a pretty standard dive comp.
Right. I'm pretty excited to see what they do with it. Team Stratton doing a terrific job in the first map. Li Jiang, we do got some people in the Twitch chat saying that Sin Eater's kind of weak on King of the Hills, which is kind of unknown to you and me, as we don't do much PC content. But interesting that they were able to leave 2 of them into the map draft as opposed to taking them out if they are weak at those. So kind of excited to see what they can do on Hollywood. Hopefully they can even things up and then take it into that third map. Siegmeyer getting the first one here, taking out that turret. Geek's turret going to be a no-go until he can throw another one down. Here comes that dive comp that we were just discussing as they start to move in here right now. First picks are going to fall in favor of Sin Eaters as they get 3 picks going to Blood Raid, and then Luke picking up one more. I'm sorry, not Sin Eaters, to Team Stratton as they move in here. That's just absolutely amazing.
Yeah, an excellent job from Blood Raid, and just immediately hunt down the Torbjorn, kill him, kill his turret that he was trying to build, and that just immediately eliminated that from the fight. Then once they got the other 2 picks, even though they lost the Winston, that's fine. Winston did his job. He disrupted everybody. He soaked up a bunch of damage, a bunch of attention, allowed his team to get 3 picks, and then it was a 5-on-3 from there.
Right. Team Stratton just so dominant in their gameplay right now. Excited to see what they can do in this street phase going forward. Siegmeyer trying to lead things off for his team over there on the Team Stratton side of the house. Genji taking a ton of damage to start out. Brutum have to retreat back to get back with his team a little bit here and enable his survivability. Blood Raiden still up over there. He's got his pulse bomb ready. He ends up throwing it up, getting no real value out of it, but they do end up finishing off his target. 607 though, taking out Blood Raiden and Brutum, both dropping now for the side of Team Stratton. So very unfortunate for them. They're going to have to back out, cut bait, and pull out here.
Yeah, definitely. Now, you already see Anna, the only member who has her ult. And Reinhardt has his as well. Oh, and there you got the Reinhardt one the Roadhog one as well.
Right.
So now, it looks like both teams are going to have a few ults available, 3 ults to 3. And both teams will be getting, the 4th and 5th ones, it seems like, relatively on pace with each other. So it's going to be about ult economy management in these coming fights to see who can kind of stagger their ults and use them the most effectively and efficiently to pick up kills.
We got to watch out because Blood Raiden is going over top. He's obviously trying to get into the back line. There's that Graviton coming out immediately. The Dragon Blade does come out here as he picks up a 2-piece with it. Brutum just putting in some work on that side of the fence here. He gets 2, Lag gets 1, Blood Raiden getting 2 as well here. Getting 1 being the mech and the other one being D.Va. So very good work out of the side of Team Stratton to recover from the previous wipe and come back in to make things happen.
Yeah, that was beautiful. Just using those 2 ults there. They just used the Zarya and the Genji, and they wiped everybody. They still have everything left, and now they can use their Winston to keep everybody off the point for this one.
We do got the beat drop now coming in for both sides. There's that Transcendence now coming in as well from Team Stratton's side of the house as they start in. It's not being too effective for them as they drop 2 right off the bat. Spoo and Geek getting those. Furry picking up 1 here for the side of Sin Eaters, trying to make sure his team doesn't lose this point as Spoo finishes off Luke. And they do manage to hold on here. Now they're on the hunt for Brutum as he tries to get into reverse mode. Lag does end up falling to Spoo as well. Last one to survive was Brutum.
That's very, very troubling if you're on the side of Stratton because you just blew all of your ults. The other team has 2 ults available and a few more are charging. You don't really have the Zarya and Genji are coming close, so maybe you can use the Zarya-Genji combo to kind of wipe the team again. You have to hope that you can get as an effective use of that as you did the last time.
Right, while maintaining the fact that Furry's got that ult ready to go for that D.Va bomb. So you definitely got to be watching that and cautious of that if you are Team Stratton moving in here. Also, the Earth Shatter from Twilo could come out at any moment for Sin Eaters. So those are to be expected in this next one. Brutum almost ready to go. There's Blood Raiden coming in strong, picking up 1, and then he gets hooked in and finished off. Or no, I'm sorry, Lag gets hooked in and finished off. There's that Dragon Blade now coming in. The Earth Shatter also coming down. Brutum gets finished off, so no real value out of that one. But it looks like Team Stratton is going to be able to hold on here. We do see the D.Va ult coming immediately. The Winston Feed Town dropping down his bubble onto that, making sure that no damage comes to his team. Able to survive that one. Some good work out of Team Stratton.
Yeah, definitely. That's the second fight in a row now that we've seen, actually, where the team that's used the most ults has actually lost the fight. So maybe a little bit of misuse of them or overzealousness once an ult gets popped from both sides coming out right now.
Right. So keep an eye on Sin Eater's side of the house. We do have Spoo ready to go. It looks like he's making his way up top, and also Decimated ready to go with that Nano boost. So maybe we'll see Attack Nano here in just a moment. On the opposite side of the spectrum, being Team Stratton, they've got 3 up. Here's that Graviton Surge. Look for Blood Raiden, throwing the Pulse Bomb, and he does. Nothing really out of it. Spoo does drop out his Tac Visor, picks up 1 on the hunt for a second. He picks it up, finishes off Feed Town, now helping his team finish off a 3rd. He's after Brutum now. He finishes him as well. That was all Spoo on that one. Spoo just putting in some work.
Yeah, well, I mean, you got to give credit to Decimated too, through the nano boost on him, just at the right time, and is already at 50% ult charge again. So Decimated really stepping up his game from last game, playing significantly better and using this Ana very effectively.
Right, I mean, he kind of has to. He's got to definitely make up for what he's done previously. He was getting picked off so often, very quickly in the fights on Li Zhang. So definitely nice to see this guy surviving so that we can see the potential that he's got out there.
Yeah, definitely. You can see now why he's on this squad. A very, very talented Ana. Almost, he's going to have his ult again for this fight if he needs it.
Right. Here's that Whole Hog now coming out. Tries to get the beat drop. There's that Nano boost onto 607 as he tries to finish off Winston, who immediately just pops the Rampage to survive it. Blood Raiden still in the back line here, trying to put in some work on that Tracer. So he did almost get pinned right there. Brutum now with his Dragon Blade out, finishes off Decimated. Point looks like it's going to be able to move forward here, a little bit uncontested as they push through the remainder of the line. Spoo drops to Blood Raiden now. Blood Raiden on the hunt, trying to finish off the Lucio, who's being quite elusive for him right now. Now the D.Va looks like she could be in some trouble. Furry taken out of mech now. They're going to finish her off in just a moment. Twilo making his way back, so is Decimated. But Blood Raiden there to spread some damage and spread some Tracer love onto them, finishing off 2 more right there in that team fight. And there's the Pulse Bomb coming out on the Mei, who promptly Cones up in snowman formation. Twilo does drop. May gets finished off. Last one is going to be Furry. He's going to try to stall things out with the help of Lucio on the point, but Blood Raiden has other plans, or I'm sorry, Brutum has other plans as he dashes through to finish him off. Still over there is the Winston Diva, and they are trying to stall this thing out for the side of Sin Eaters, but it looks like they're not going to be able to make things work as it's all Team Stratton. All Team Stratton. Blood Raiden, Feedtown, Brutum all combining for all these kills. Blood Raiden just going off on that Tracer. Able to hold things on for his team. Just amazing stuff.
Yeah. That was an incredibly long last fight. Very, very long last fight.
Switching sides.
I'm surprised, actually, that they didn't get held off there completely because they had enough time. They brought everybody back, right? Like they had all the members were starting to respawn and everybody came back in. And at one point they did have like 3 or 4 people contesting the point alive at the same time. So
right.
I'm surprised they actually managed to cap it on that push, but very effective. They have 1 minute and 7 seconds. So gives them a little bit of leeway. Obviously,
yeah, it definitely does.
Because they capped this first point very, very quickly. You know, that you can easily stop people once or twice at least on this first point here. But the streets phase, they did get held on pretty efficiently, so very, very similar comps it seems like, except we do see the Blood Raidens going onto the Soldier now instead of the Tracer.
Right, and I think I like that pick as well. He did do very well on the Tracer, but that Soldier with that constant frontline damage, maybe trying to win a shield battle or something, is what they've kind of got in their mind. That could be the case. And if so, that's definitely the pick to go with because Brutum's been putting in work on his own in that back line for the side of Team Stratton, and I assume that he's going to continue to do so.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. And it's hard to run a full dive comp. You don't really want to run a full dive comp on defense. Like, it's not optimal, right? It's better to have somebody like the Soldier, the McCree, who can sit there with your tanks, with your front line, or with your back line healers, and really just unload an insane amount of damage. And force enemies to think twice about walking towards you guys.
Right. We do have the doors opening up here in about 5 seconds, guys. We're gonna get our first looks at what Sin Eaters has on the table. Looks like Furry is gonna be going onto the Tracer. They've also got the Pharah coming out. So Blood Raiden, obviously a good pick with that Soldier, able to get some hits onto Spoo. Probably a little bit easier when it comes down to it.
Mercy again too. Which I'm not sure how I feel about it, but we'll see if it's more efficient for them and effective this game.
Right, they do have a different person on the Pharah, going with Spoo instead of Furry, allowing Furry to get in the back line. That's kind of what you want to do, though. When you've got a Pharah on your team and that pharmacy going, you've got to have somebody distracting the back line and the people on the ground, right? Otherwise, they're free to look at the top. They're free to look up and solo out your pharmacy. So what Furry's doing in this backline right now, he's already picked up one to lead things off. He gets the Reinhardt out of the game, and that freed up Spoo. Look, now he's just dominating the areas. He takes out 2 of his own. Still in the backline is Furry as he continues to dominate with the help of Spoo to take out Seg. They are on the point, and they are not giving up on this one. Sin Eaters just very dominant in their first approach here.
Yeah, that was really clean, and they're pushing them all the way back into their spawn. You know, they're just going to leave the one person back on the payload to kind of push that. They'll have the Lucio pushing it by himself, leaving him, you know, to do the dirty work.
Right.
There's no glory. But a very aggressive hold here. Great job from the Winston, and a really clean dive, actually. Just very, very effective, getting the kills they needed to, separating the team efficiently, using that Winston and the Winston shield. And the Pharah's able to get the picks. Now they're going 1 for 1, which at this point is fine. I mean, Winston's diving deep in.
Right.
They lost a few members there, though.
Well, if you
already managed to get the pill.
Yeah, if you look at what Team Stratton's doing, though, they're definitely changing their lineup in accordance to what Sin Eaters has on the table. Do you want to go Pharah? Fine, we're going to double hit scan you. They've got Bruden out there with Bloodlord. Obviously, Seed can throw up a couple of hits on that Ana when needed, but they've got tons of presence to take down that pharmacy. Now, even with Furry in the back line, you could throw a McCree at the Tracer. I've seen many effective McCrees taken off Tracers. So I think that's going to be a very effective lineup for the side of Stratton, as it already proves to be, taking out the first initial push since changing. Now he gets a pick onto Geek with a good flashbang. He's got his Deadeye ready to go. He's on the hunt trying to take out that pharmacy. He's going to duck around the other side of the building now. We still got Furry trying to tag up that back line. And there's the res coming in to save things for Sin Eaters. Tac Visor now coming out for Brutum on the side of Team Stratton. There's that Deadeye in the back. He ends up picking off Furry, who tried to take him down. Brutum does get one as well. Sieg finishing off one, and Brutum and Blood Rain continue their tirade of terror here as they take out 2 more, and Brutum finishing off a 3rd.
Yeah, that was an impressive wipe. Definitely the double hit scan DPS working very efficiently here. Same with they used the nano visor as well, quite well, and then Soldier picked up a few kills to clean it up. McCree with the high noon. The only thing is they did blow a lot of ults. Right now they only have the Reinhardt ult at their disposal. 4 outs, excuse me, on the side of Stratton to work with. So
on the side of on the side of Sin Eaters.
On the side of Sin Eaters, yeah.
I like that they're taking away that high ground too, the side of Team Stratton. They're not allowing Sin Eater's Farah Spoo to get up there and do any work. He's having to duck underneath, which makes him less effective. Feedtown does pick up one, and so does Bruden. And it looks like there's that rocket barrage we were talking about. And we knew that was going to come out sooner or later. He had it up and ready to go. Picks up a 2-piece with that, but he's in some trouble and has to back off. Ends up getting taken out by Luke, who ends up picking up a 2-piece in that, finishing off the entirety of the pharmacy. Some good work out of both sides, but Team Stratton just getting the upper hand in majority of these team fights.
Yeah, they're just edging out the fights, and again, you know, we've been in this game for about 5-6 minutes. We've only seen one mercy res. Compare that, you know, to the efficiency that we saw yesterday. It's just nowhere near as impressive, right? And
right.
It makes me really wonder, with how good Decimated was on Ana, getting those nano boosts so quickly. It really makes me wonder if this is the best call. I mean, I think we'll see how it plays out.
I agree with you. We're gonna spectate a little bit of Decimated and see what kind of trouble she's getting herself in here. There's that tac visor coming out, and in the back we do got the Winston. He is pretty low. Looks like he could get taken out. The Deadeye does come out. Tac visor still going. Blood Raiden finishes off one. The beat drop comes down for Team Stratton, and it looks like they're gonna be able to clean things up here. The Mercy Res is still available and on the table for the side of Sin Eaters to come down and make something happen. But at this point, they've been pushed so far back that there's no point to even use it. Feedtown continues to push forward and playing very aggressive is Team Stratton. They really take it to him, finishing off Decimated and 607.
Yeah, and those final few kills are kind of just going to delay, you know, Sin Eaters push just a few more seconds, buy them a few more seconds time. And really every second's count because they've got, you know, they capped with 1 minute and 7 left, so they want to be able to have the full advantage. If they do have to go into an overtime, force them to at least cap it in overtime. Don't give them a regulation cap. And they're very nicely set up here. You have the Soldier and the Ana up top, being able to rain down fire pretty much uncontested. So we'll see what, and here comes the devault to the back.
And we did have a little bit of a failed Earthshatter come out as well. The Graviton Surge finally coming out for the side of Sin Eaters. It looks like they might be able to clean things up here, but it doesn't look like, man. Team Stratton actually turning things around now and really going to town here as Brutum picks up even more kills than he's already had on the table. That dude just can't be satisfied with the amazing amount that he's already got.
Yeah, well, nobody looked at Soldier that entire fight, right? And the Ana was already up there with him, so she knew he was up there. They as soon as he popped his ult, she popped her ult on him, and it's just a clean team wipe to end it.
Right.
And again, now there's only 52 seconds, but they have no ults on their side. Now,
They
nobody
don't.
has an ult. Nobody has an ult.
They
so
don't.
This is going to be first, you know, the only good thing is on the side of Sin Eaters is you won the very first fight of the game where there was no ults available, and you haven't won since, so maybe
But watch though, because the ults are starting to tick up now for the side of Team Stratton. They've got Blood Raiden, which now he's throwing out that Deadeye. Let's see if he can pick off anybody, and he does. Spoo now dropped. Lucio in trouble for the side of Sin Eaters. Here comes that tac visor from Bruden, trying to finish off the remainder of them. A failed hook does land on the side of Sin Eaters, but it's just not enough. Bruden and Blood Raiden just doing too much work down there, or up in the air rather, to make things happen. We got Luke still down there trying to contest a little bit against Twilo, but the timer is continuing to tick down. Spoo trying to change the flow of the game in favor of Sin Eaters as he picks up a saucy little 2-piece. I don't think it's going to work out for him, though, in the long run. They're going to get a little bit of a push here, but they've got a really big uphill battle to fight.
Yeah, they definitely do, but that was a beautiful Helix rocket by Spoo. He, from the ground floor, took out the Soldier on the top of the saloon, who had been raining fire down the entire game and managed to get that pick. And here the Earthshatter comes out from 607, or not from 607, from Twilo, excuse me. And it looks like they are going to push it to at least 30 points. So this gives them a breath of fresh life. They have 1.5 minutes, not very much time. They're almost certainly, I think mathematically, they are certainly going to head into the overtime if they get there at a disadvantage time-wise, but it's possible. They have life.
They definitely do. If they continue their push the way that it's going right now, they could see a full cap out of this. Luke does get taken out of mech. Team Stratton definitely needs to get back onto the game and find their rhythm once again. They do have 2 ults to work with. I'm sorry, Sin Eaters has 2 ults to work with going into these team fights here with 607 coming up very shortly. Here comes the Diva Bomb out, ends up picking up nothing from that, but does zone them a little bit here as they start making their way around. A good hook does land from 607 onto Sigmire. The breakdown coming down from Sin Eaters, and they're continuing their push, guys. Here it goes. The Earth Shatters coming down. Diva's back in the mech. Twilo putting the pressure onto Luke, getting her out of mech to finish her off. Furry ends up surviving somehow to finish off. Feed Time goes for the health back, able to survive. They're continuing to push through. She's almost got that ult once again, so that's going to be an amazing one to throw out here in just a second for the Sin Eater side. Attack Visor is now coming out for Spoo on the side of Sin Eaters. They're trying to get a couple of picks in the same thing going down on Team Stratton's side of the house. Watch for the Diva Bombs to start coming out. Looks like she is going to throw it out right now. Lag and both Lag and Feed Town continue to dominate here for Team Stratton as they pick up a piece, and they are just all over this point here. Swinging Hammer is going to be Feed Town trying to put in some work. Decimated and Geek both falling here for the side of Sin Eaters, and it looks like Team Stratton is just cleaning things up at this point as Blood Raiden picks up a 3-piece and Feed Town gets one. Bruden continues to get one as well. Man, that's some amazing work for Team Stratton to come back and hold on in those final moments. Sin Eaters looked like they were just all over it, and it looked like Sin Eaters was going to be able to push it, but the persistence of Team Stratton ended up netting them that victory.
Yeah, definitely. They were able to clutch it out there at the end, grind out just enough time to at least force it to overtime, and know that, okay, even if they do cap this, they don't have any time to cap the first point because of the way the hybrid maps work. You know, they would have had a significant advantage. They just had to get 33%. They would have won. But good job with the full hold anyway. I am really confused though. I can't lie to you. The support choice from Sin Eaters going with Mercy so much when Decimated is clearly such a good Ana player. As soon as he switched to Ana, they pushed that payload uncontested all the way almost to the end.
Right, and I mean,
as soon as he did it.
Right, you gotta question their choices in that one. Hopefully they'll go back and review this stream and notice that as well, knowing that maybe the pharmacy's not the way to go. If anything, maybe just keep up the Pharah, but do not let Decimated sit on that Mercy. He just keeps getting picked off.
Yeah, and I mean, it would be one thing if he wasn't, causing a massive impact on the Ana either, but he's clearly an incredibly impactful Ana.
Right.
So to take him off the Ana, you have to make sure that, and granted, the Pharah did incredibly well. I thought the Pharah did work, and that is partially due to the Mercy being with her. But maybe get Geek to play the Mercy and have him on the Ana. I don't know. Maybe you want the Lucio. That's a conversation that team needs to have. But I would be seriously looking at that because he was playing incredibly well on Ana, and his Mercy, especially after, maybe I'm a little bit biased right now because some of the Mercy play we saw yesterday was just absolutely phenomenal.
Right.
But, compared to his play on Ana, you have to go, okay, is he really using Mercy to the same level he's using Ana? And if not, is it worth that trade-off? Right.
All right, so we're going to be getting these teams in here now. I'm going to set up the OW draft for you guys. We're going to cut back over here to the game screen so that you guys can see these guys getting into game. We're going to get the OW draft going so that we can start this off. It is going to be a little bit different. We're going to be going with a best of 5 instead of the best of 3. Gives them a little bit more time to figure out each other's strategies.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and you always want the longest series possible, right? In terms of figuring out who truly the better team is, especially at that. That's why generally in tournaments, the later rounds, it's always a longer series. In the first rounds, you do shorter ones because if there's a big mismatch, you don't want to make the teams play like 7 games, right, or 4 games, and have them be 4 complete stomps. That's not fun for anybody, right? It's just demoralizing and. Yeah, so I don't know. We'll see how this goes. Who do we have on each color? Do we know to start the first game?
We'll see. We'll have to situate it out here in a minute, depending on what maps they choose and if they want attack or defense. But right now we got Toronto's Esports in the red and Team Stratton in the blue. This is going to be the finals here for the Haste Overwatch Qualifier number 1. That's going to be leading up. Both of these teams already qualifying. We're taking the top 4 teams from each qualifier. There's a total of 3. and moving them on into the finals. Prize pool being $1,000 on the table. I think we're divvying it up 70-80, going to team number 1, and the second place team getting $240. So a lot of money on the table. Definitely a lot of money on the table for these guys.
Yeah, and I mean it's great to see stuff like this being run by the Overwatch community, by a site like Overguard, and being sponsored by guys like Haste, because right now I feel like ever since the announcement of Overwatch League, which is obviously fantastic for the top tier pro players and everything like that, it's created a lot of hype around the game, which is all phenomenal. It's kind of killed the tournament scene a little bit, right? Like there's not that many too many tournaments going on, other than Apex is obviously a big one, but to have the Alienware Monthly and stuff like this going on, where a lot of people can hop online, they can win some money, they can play on stream in front of everybody and show the world who's a good player and get recruited by bigger name teams or make a name for themselves and start to build their career. It's just really important for the scene in general.
Most definitely. I couldn't agree more with you. I'm very excited for everything. Really looking forward to this finals, though. What do you think? Team Stratton, Toronto Esports, now that you've seen both of these teams in action, what are your thoughts going into this finals?
It's going to be very interesting. We saw phenomenal play from Blood Raiden. We saw phenomenal play from Oni God. I don't know what Stratton is going to do to answer Note, because I'm not sure if there was a Roadhog who is maybe quite as good as Note was in that series. However, Feedtown played phenomenal. Brewdom and Blood Raiden were just as talented as Note and Jaru, I believe that's his name, right? Jaru?
Yeah, Jaru.
The Genji player? Yeah. So, we're going to have a very talented – I think this game is going to be a lot of fun to watch. We're going to have a lot of fun Tracer battles. We're going to have some very talented DPS players going at it. And as somebody who attempts to play the DPS role myself, I always really like watching those flashy players and seeing what they can do, because it really just kind of blows your mind and firmly reminds you why you're casting and why you're not trying to still play the game professionally.
Right. I agree with you on that one. So we're just waiting for Cynic's team to finish up. They are in the OW draft already, though. They're going to be joining in here in just a minute for Toronto Esports. Looking at the map draft, we've already got Kings Road, Dorado, and Temple of Anubis taken out for Team Stratton's side of the house. Toronto Esports, on the other hand, taking out Gibraltar, Numbani, and Hanamura. So we've got the 2 CP out, one of the 2 CPs out on the Toronto Esports side, and one of the 2 CP out on the Team Stratton side. Do you think they're going to get rid of all of those and maybe just stick to... It looks like they might be sticking towards more or less King of the Hills and payloads.
Well, that wouldn't surprise me, because that's what the theme we've seen so far tonight or today. Nobody's wanted anything to do with 2 CP maps, so wouldn't shock me if that stays true for the finals.
Right.
But both teams did allow a King of the Hill map in, right? Although they were different ones. They were actually 3 different ones. We saw, Ilios come in the Toronto Esports side. However, we saw Nepal and Lijiang Tower come in on the side of Stratton. So depending on, maybe which one of those teams feels like they're more comfortable on the other team's King of the Hill, I wouldn't be surprised to see a King of the Hill, but Payload seems to be king. Payload and the hybrid map seem to be king.
Right.
So that's what we'll probably end up seeing a lot of this final series on.
Well, coming down to it, it looks like they are going to be sticking with that. We got Ilios, Lijiang, and Nepal. So all King of the Hills. They still do have Route 66 in the mix here. And how it's going to end is we've already got those 4 in. I think Hollywood being the other one. And that's going to be your map pool. So it's going to be Hollywood, Route 66, Nepal, Lijiang, and Ilios. I'm going to type those out real quick so I can just commit them to memory. And we'll see where we're going to start at.
Interesting. So all 3 of the King of the Hill maps that both teams allowed through are in. So we're going to see a King of the Hill heavy series, which makes sense, to be honest, because when you watch both Oni God was clearly a very competent Tracer player. He seemed to really like playing that. Blood Raiden also seemed very good on the Tracer, and they had a lot of success on the dive comp, right? And dive comps tend to work very well in King of the Hill game types, like that Winston Zarya Tracer Genji combo with either the Lucio or the Ana or the Zenyatta, some combination of those 3, generally the Lucio Ana or the Lucio Zenyatta. Very standard, and both teams seem to have success with that today. Both teams seem to like running that, although you might see the Roadhog come out for Toronto Esports instead because of how proficient Note was on that champion.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited to see if he continues to do that, to go with that, or if he does select to go on something else. I'm sure he's going to be a talented player either way he goes, but very much looking forward to seeing that guy in action.
Yeah. I will try to control my pro Toronto bias during the series.
Please do. Keep Toronto out of this.
I will try. It is my home, however.
Yeah, I guess we can give you that one. You gotta root for who you know, right?
Yeah, I gotta root for the hometown boys.
Most definitely. Okay, so we're waiting on one more player for the Toronto esports side of thing, and it's Jaru. He's coming in right now, and then we're gonna start this thing up, guys. The map pool once again is gonna be Route 66, Hollywood, Ilios, Nepal, and we are starting on Lijiang, as you can see from the OW draft. This is going to be a best of 5 series, and it is the finals here at the Overguard Haste $1,000 Overwatch tournament. This is qualifier number 1. All teams that have made it to the semifinals have already qualified and will be moving on into the finals, which is going to be Sin Eaters, Team Stratton, Toronto Esports, and Crossfade. We will be seeing all of these teams once again on the 20th. The way they place in those are seeded in the finals is going to kind of come down to a mix between this and Gosu rank. So depending on how well or who finishes on top determines their seed. So looking forward to seeing what these guys can do. And without further ado, guys, we're going to be kicking this thing straight off into the finals. So lock in your bids. Who's going to be Toronto Esports? Who's going for Stratton? I know we've seen a bunch of Stratton in the Twitch chat. Is everybody still content with that one, or are you guys going to migrate over to the Toronto side of the house? Let us know. Please let us know.
Yeah. Well, I hope we have more Toronto fans because Toronto. That way the Twitch chat can be biased for me.
There you go. You can
I don't have to
live vicariously through them, right?
Exactly. So we'll see. Yeah, very, very standard compositions. Exactly kind of what we thought. Although we do have actually a triple tank coming out early on the side of Toronto Esports. So that's interesting.
It really actually is to see Jaru switching off of that DPS and going with the hog when we've seen Note be so dominant on it. So I'm quite shocked at it, to be honest with you. Then again, I mean, we've got a very small sample size as far as pool that we've seen these players compete in. So this could be a standard lineup for these guys that we're just not seeing. But we will have more information when it comes down to it once we get closer to the finals and whatnot that we will be commentating. Looking forward to it. Maybe we can get a secret guest commentator for it. I don't know. We'll have to verify and see if his schedule's open or not.
That would be pretty awesome.
No hints. No hints given.
No hints. And hashtag Intel.
Yeah. All right, so Jaru landed a hook very early on, not getting any conversion to kill on that one, though. A lot of damage is going out in favor of Toronto Esports right now, though. Another hook is landed onto the Winston and feet down. Goes down to start off. OniGod finishing him off. We haven't really seen OniGod switch off onto that soldier, but he seems to be very comfortable playing it as he picks off too. Note picking up a 3-piece in this team fight. That is absolutely stellar. Ended up getting 4 kills in that team fight. That is absolutely redonkulous. Toronto Esports taking control of the point first.
Yep. Oh, excuse me. Got caught my truck got caught, but Note with an incredible bubble at the end of that fight too, shielding the Roadhog when he got stuck by the Tracer, blocking all that damage, negating the pulse bomb completely, and making sure he has a high charge coming into the second fight.
We did see a good canister from Snowy right there. There's that Graviton Surge now coming out from Toronto. It's play cleanup as Cynic picks up a 2-piece on that one. Jaro finishing off a 3rd. Now they're on the hunt for Lag, trying to get him down, and Note finishes him off with that Hyper Beam there of Zarya. So some very aggressive gameplay out of Toronto, pushing them straight into the spawn point. Now this seems to be a common trend, right? When a team starts to go, they push them all the way to the grave, to the spawn point. They don't let up. They keep on the gas pedal until they're wiped up. It does look like Toronto Esports is able to back up a little bit here, though, to give them a little bit of room, since they are now starting to pop all their support ults. Now all support ults down for Team Stratton.
OniGod getting caught out a little bit there, maybe watching a little bit of Jaehong's Ana and thinking maybe Soldier, and unfortunately it did not work out for him. Getting trapped in the back line there, but the rest of this fight is going pretty well. They're managing to stay alive, and it looks like they are going to force Stratton off the point. So a successful hold from Toronto Esports, despite OniGod getting a little bit overzealous with his ultimate there, and Snow is just charging her ultimate absolutely incredibly quickly. She's already at 70%, and she just used it in the last fight. So they're going to have a lot of Ana ults to deal with. If they're going to have to eliminate Snow. Make sure that they at least kill her so that she can't Ana ult every single fight.
And you got some people in the chat saying, go lag, and then somebody else replying, there is no lag. This is who he's referring to. We'll put him up on the screen. He's going to break it down for us right now to alleviate some pressure off of his team, but he does get caught up in the Graviton, and he is taken out by Note, who picks up yet another multi-kill during a fight. Jeez. Wow. Is there anything that's going to stop Note? Anything at all?
I mean, I guess now we understand why he's gave up the Roadhog to play the Zarya. As good as he was on the Roadhog earlier today, we did see him going toe for toe with the other Roadhog player. The name is slipping my mind right now. But on the Zarya, he just played absolutely phenomenal. So
absolutely.
Definitely gonna keep him on that for the rest of this series, or for the rest of this game at least. They're going back to the Jaru. Actually, never mind. So they're actually going to go back to what we thought we were going to see. The Onigod on the Tracer, Jaru on the Genji, the Note on the Roadhog. So they're electing, despite the success, to not go with the Zarya. They're going for a double tank. Interesting change of composition after such a successful first round win, right?
Yeah, but we know that Toronto Esports can be successful with this composition. They've been running the 2-2-2 the entirety of the series, or of the tournament rather, and doing very well with it. So I'm not surprised to really see it come out here now. We do got Feedtown jumping in the back line on Team Stratum's side of the house, trying to put in some work. Luke starting things off for him as he gets the pick on Note, which is obviously a great pick. You got to get that guy out. Luke trying to turn things around, takes out Snow as well. Blood Raiden finally chiming in here as he takes out Jaru. This is all Team Stratton here as they finish off and full wipe out Toronto Esports. Good job to Team Stratton on that one, able to get in and utilize a little bit of zoning and a good amount of Winston Bubble on that one.
Yeah, and this time, you see Luke on the Zarya, he picked up 3 final blows himself in that fight. Very effective shield usage, very early pick. I believe he got the first kill as well. Great pulse bomb there to start the fight off, though, and a huge Ananade to drop the healing. Wow, what a great dive.
Amazing teamwork on that one. Amazing teamwork. Now he's on the hunt trying to finish off Snow, but the sleep dart comes out. Snow saves his own life there, able to survive to live another day. And still on the point is going to be Team... It's kind of reminiscent of the previous matchup that we saw, Team Stratton versus Sin Eaters when they were on Li Jiang. Very dominant gameplay out of Stratton. They were able to hold the point very well. I'm curious to see if Toronto Esports is going to make good on what they did in the first map and do it as well here. So far, starting off this team fight, we do see Onigod and Jaru doing what they do best and picking off a couple right there, but Cynic ends up falling due to Pulse Bomb. It was thrown out from Blood Raiden. Team Stratton now breaking it down to give a little bit of breathing room to him as Feedtown goes bananas in the back, takes Snow out. Luke ends up falling as well. Brutum coming in clutch, taking out Onigod and Blood Raiden, chiming in once again to take out Mac as well as Note. That's just some amazing stuff out of Stratton, and Blood Raiden really holding it down for his team right now.
Yeah, so despite, this composition working really well earlier in the day, it doesn't seem like it's working so well right now for Toronto Esports. Team Stratton just seems to have all the answers. Some exceptional play coming out from Luke, from Blood Raiden, and from Brutum, and Feedtown as well, actually. So just everybody really stepping up on the side of Stratton this game.
Very amazing stuff. Onigod putting in some work here as he picks up one. Jaro in the back as well, putting in work as he picks up a couple. I think he picked up 3 total in that team fight, and that's how you want to do it when you're on there, man.
Yeah, definitely. And, despite what I was just saying, kind of the caster curse, right after that, and a beautiful Ananade and pick on the Reinhardt, Toronto Esports was able to quickly turn that around and just kind of wipe everybody from Stratton and gain control of the point for themselves. So now we'll see Stratton in a situation where they're forced to take the point back for themselves. Huge Graviton to start things off.
And then, yeah, immediately, we do see a little bit of recovery here, though. Toronto Esports, looks like they're able to survive this. Jaru and Mac really taking it to him, and we do got Note going back over to that Roadhog, which I agree with. He hasn't made as big of a difference on the Zarya this round, so I like that he's going back to his roots a little bit here and sticking with that Roadhog. I think he's doing absolutely terrific on it so far. He's picked up a 2-piece. Jaru chiming in real quick, taking out Blood Raiden to continue things on here. He does have his Dragon Blade, so watch out for maybe a nano-boosted Dragon coming out here in this next team fight. They are sitting at 50% on the clock. They're going to have to hold it just about the full entirety since Team Stratton is at 97%. There's that Dragon Blade coming out now. He's on the hunt trying to finish off, and he does. Takes out Luke, finishes off Segmeyer, and now going back to the point since that is being contested by Lag. Lag not going to be long for this world as Note turns table to him and finishes him off. Onigod also chiming in, for a kill on the side of Toronto Esports. It looks like they're doing a lot better now, and they found their stride now that they've switched off and got the team composition going again.
Yeah, well, that also the combination of Snow and Jaru have just been putting in work. They're exactly, you see it again, the nano blade coming in, Jaru doing absolutely incredibly, and just really preventing anybody on Stratton from being able to do what they want to do. They're really forcing Stratton now to react to everything Toronto Esports is doing, and a huge hook from Node.
Right, and they're starting to make their way back in now. Team Stratton as they lead off with the first pick onto Note. There's that Earthshatter coming down. Feedtown now in some trouble. He does get bubbled to relieve a little bit of the pressure, but on the hunt is going to be Jaru, who finishes him off with the help of Onigod there. Cynic with a good charge onto Luke, finishes him, and Onigod picking up another one, taking out Seg. They're going to try to finish off Brutum in the back, and Note ends up getting him, who is switched over to the Soldier now, and that's going to be Toronto Esports coming in with a quick 2 on Li Zhang. Win one more, and they're going to be up 1-0 in the series.
So that's impressive. You know, they turned it around clearly. And this is a map that Stratton wanted to play because they played it last series too, right? So kind of surprising that we're seeing such a dominant start from Toronto Esports. I really wasn't expecting them to be able to turn that around so effectively, to be honest with you.
They definitely did a terrific job with it.
The way Stratton was playing at the start of that second point, I really did expect them to win it and bring this to a 1-1 situation. But now it's 2-0. Stratton has their backs against the wall. They're really not changing up the team comp, so they really seem to like what they're doing, and I don't blame them. I mean, everybody seems to be playing well on these heroes. I don't think that... I'm struggling to figure out exactly what is, you know, causing them to go wrong every time. It just seems like a small little thing, a pick. But Toronto Esports in the second half of that match was really able to force all the abilities out of Stratton when they wanted them to be forced out. An early pick by Note on the
right. Well, you were saying you're struggling to figure out the issue here, and I mean, just from that beginning pick right there, you kind of notice the little bit here and there. Note landing a solid hook on an out-of-position Zarya. She could have tucked around, but she didn't. She was able to get hooked down, which ultimately led to now probably Toronto Esports coming in very strong and taking this first point.
Yeah, it looks like they're definitely going to be able to gain control first. So, yeah, I mean, it looks like, you know, Note on the Roadhog has been able to apply pressure and really force Stratton to kind of play on their back foot. Zarya is often having to use her bubble to bubble somebody who gets hooked, right? So she doesn't have it to bubble the tank when he goes in. She can't bubble Winston. She's constantly having to bubble people who are getting hooked, and that's really making it easier for them to deal with Feedtown.
Right, now Feedtown does jump in. He does get hooked out. He looks like he is going to jump out to relieve some pressure off of himself and try to continue on here. You do got him going after Jaru. Ineffective, though, as Jaru able to survive. Onigod throwing out a good pulse bomb, landing that on Lag, able to take him out. There's that Genji Blade coming in from Jaru. He ends up getting a good dash onto Feedtown, finishing him off, and then with the Dragon Blade finishes off Siegemeier with a good dash again, coming through Blood Raiden to end that Tracer's life. Some good gameplay out of Jaru. I love watching this man play.
Yeah, he's an incredible Genji. He's really fun to watch, I've got to say. Definitely a fun Genji to watch. Reminds me a little bit of Who Are You, too, with how aggressive he is and how kind of in your face. Winston there trying to jump away, but unfortunately Roadhog hooked him off the map. So again, we see Note just applying pressure, but Blood Raiden there actually managed to trade a kill onto Onigod. So despite that early hook by Note to give his team an advantage, it's still a 5v5, and another hook. No.
Another hook from Note.
Oh my god.
That man is just monstrous.
These are the types of people that make you hate Roadhog.
Right.
Bad man.
Snow landing a good biotic onto Brutum, finishing him off as well. And we do have 3 ults on the table for the side of Toronto Esports, with Snow's coming up very shortly. And we both know that Onigod and Jaru calculate theirs up very, very quickly. Team Stratum, on the other hand, they're sitting on 5 out of their 6, with now Feedtown going bananas on the point, and the breakdown coming in from Lag. We do have Whole Hog coming out from Note, trying to make things happen for his team and keep some pressure off. But Sieg, with that canister, finishes off Mac. There's that Graviton Surge now coming out from Team Stratton, and they look like they mean business as they continue to clean up the point here. Luke, Blood Rain, and Sieg all combining for some kills. Last one over there is going to be Onigod, and he's trying to contest, trying to run that timer down here. I don't think it's going to happen. He's already at 99%. Overtime timer was down. If you're them, you just build ults at this point, wait, and you go in and finish things off with one push, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, that was a very, very good and clutch win from Stratton, but they got very lucky because Siegemeier actually used his nano boost there onto Soldier, the Brutum, and Tac Visored, but then Winston knocked him off the map. So his own Winston knocked him off the map
Right.
there. And they still managed to win that fight, so very fortunate for them.
Very good pulse bomb by Blood Raiden onto Cynic, getting that out to win this, to start winning this team fight. He gets another one onto Jaru. That's how you want to initiate these team fights, with a couple of quick picks just like that. Utilize your flankers to get around there, especially when they got that pulse bomb. It's just that immediate damage continuing to clean up. Is Blood Raiden able to get a third one onto Oni, and a quick reset out of Toronto, electing to find the edge of the map so they can get back to the drawing board and come at it one more time. Azio in the chat saying going monkeys. Yeah, that's what he does, man. Winston goes monkey, bro. Winston goes monkey. He rampages. He goes bananas. Whatever you want to call it. We got Onigod sneaking in through the back, trying to touch base a little bit here. Now we got a Tracer duel off the point a little bit here, and Onigod electing to go through the side. Immediately spotted out by Blood Raiden. There's that I'm sorry. There goes that beat drop from Lag, trying to keep his team alive here, but Seg ends up dropping due to a good placement on Pulse Bomb from Onigod. Note also chiming in to that kill feed, ends up taking out one. Jaru getting that good Dragon Blade out, finishing off two himself, and Onigod chiming in for yet another one. We did see Brutum try to throw his hand out with a Rocket Barrage, ended up missing that one. Did get one pig, but overall it was Toronto Esports all the way on that one with a quick 3-0 on Li Jiang.
Yeah, and no surprise that, what we saw was kind of what we've seen every time Toronto Esports gets in a sticky situation, every single time today. Onigod manages to get behind the other team, get a kill or two onto supports, and then his team is able to win the team fight based on that. So, it really seems like when Toronto Esports is in a tight situation, when they need to win that last push, time is ticking down, they really count on Onigod to get that critical pick on one of the backline key members, and it seems like no matter how many times they ask him to do it, he always delivers.
Right, and he definitely does. We are going to be moving into the next match here, or next map rather, in this best of 5 series. Siegmeyer up on the clock to decide where he's going to go, and if you want to briefly look at where the possibilities of them to go is, it's going to be Ilios, Hollywood, Nepal, and Route 66. That's what's on the table for them right now. Sieg looks like he's going to choose Ilios to be moving to next. So let's get that set up, and we're going to be moving very quickly into that. And yeah, what did you see, man, that really stood out to you, other than obvious Note just going absolutely bananas and bonkers in that first matchup?
It seems like, on the side of Stratton, they were obviously very good at holding the point. Every time they gained control of a point, they held it nearly the entire time, right? They got a 99 hold or a 97 and like an 80 something, and on that last one. So defensively, they were very good. But it seemed like when Note was playing defense, so he was kind of allowed to, set up and be where he wanted to be and control his positioning. He did such a fantastic job controlling the map that they just continuously got picked.
Right.
It just made it really, really difficult. Sometimes they couldn't ever get a successful push, or if they finally could mount one, so much time had been killed off the clock that it then forced them into that you have to 100-0 situation like we saw in the last map. And against teams of this caliber, you're asking a lot of yourself.
You really are at that point.
Yeah, you don't want to be forcing yourself to do that, right? But guys, I think if you guys are enjoying the series and you guys want to get some other people in here, because this has been a great series. We have a lot of great players coming out, and this is kind of like you get to be Overwatch hipsters in the sense. You get to see some of these guys that maybe the mainstream community won't know about for another year, but you kind of get to see them on the up, right? You got to see them rising up and playing on games like this, and really get to know a little bit about these players before everybody else does.
Right.
So tweet the stream, tweet the link that you're watching, and get everybody in here, because this is the rest of the series is,
and also,
like
while you're over there on the internet browser, make sure to check out Haste.net and get your ping lowered a little bit. Get your latency or MS or whatever you want to call it. Get it lowered down a little bit. They do a terrific job. They specialize in Overwatch, and they are the sponsors for this tournament. So make sure to go check them out, guys. All right, so we got some gameplay starting off with Brutum getting the first pick for the side of Team Stratton as he goes nuts, getting one onto Cynic. Note also dropped, so does Snow. There's the pick onto Mac as well. Brutum once again getting another one onto Onigod, and that's how you play Pharah. We haven't seen a good Pharah just yet in this series, and I'm excited to be seeing this one now.
Yeah, I mean, the last map, it has some places where Pharah can be used pretty well, like especially that last point that we just saw, but not, it didn't get really pulled out or used that effectively. This map, we already see a great Pharah play, a bunch of early picks, and Stratton getting off to a really strong start, and exactly what they needed to do. to kind of get their mentality reset after that last game.
Right. And we got a couple of questions in the chat. Baza Boyo, sorry for butchering the name. How many rounds does it take to win? How many rounds does it take, Trooper? In a
3.
best of
So
5.
We're playing a best of 5 in this game as well, right? So
Right.
Sometimes, like in OGN, you see King of the Hill played only a best of 3, but we're doing the full competitive setup here. So it's a best of 5 in this game and in this series.
Right. So what do you think about the both teams running pharmacy at this point?
I definitely think if the other team is running a solid pharmacy can be your answer, and obviously it just worked out for Toronto Esports right there. You know, and they have the Oni God on the Soldier. Both teams are running the Soldier Blood Radiant on it as well right now. So both teams kind of trying to make sure that they can control the skies. Pharah is very, very strong on this map. There's so many places to boop off. That well in the middle of the point is such an easy target, right? So if you get above them, you can just knock a few people who are unsuspecting into that well and get some easy kills for your team.
Right. There's that Rocket Barrage coming out from Brutum. He does pick up one on Acynic. And they don't all have to be World Star ults, right? As long as you get 1 or 2 kills, you're already turning the tide into your favor. So I think a very good ultimate from Team Stratton on that one. Able to knock down one to get them that advantage going into this team fight. They are starting to win it in that respect. And there's that res now coming in from the side of Toronto Esports, bringing everybody back to life. On the hunt is Jaro. He does get a pick on Bruton, throws out his own Rocket Barrage. It looks like it was going to be absorbed mostly by the D.Va, and it did, but he did get a pick off of that as well. 54% is on the clock for the side of Toronto Esports, and it is continuing to tick up. The res now coming out for Team Stratton coming into this, and now on the hunt is Jaro. He finishes off the Mercy once again. Matt gets one. There's the breakdown now coming out from Toronto Esports, relieving a little bit of that pressure off the healers. And Feedtown now rampaging on the point, gets a pick onto Onigod, and Jaro finishing off Luke. Man, this fight just went back and forth a few times, and Toronto Esports able to hold on to secure that fight victory.
Yeah, an incredible job there by Toronto Esports, just staying alive and contesting the point, just stalling long enough for their members to get back. And, you know, that is kind of what we were talking about with what you were mentioning earlier with ults. Sometimes getting that one ult just to pick the fight can be great, but when the other team has a Mercy and can reset everything afterwards, they can kind of stall out. But I guess neither Pharah really was able to get too much of their ult, so it ended up being all right. Huge ult to start this one.
We did see Mac get a good boop onto Feedtown right there, able to knock him off, turning the tide into Toronto's favor. Now they get 3 picks, 4 picks, 5 picks. Jaro, right after I changed the camera off the man, just goes nuts, and now he's got the Rocket Barrage going out as the gate closes on this first map for Toronto Esports, able to secure it. That was just an amazing exchange between these two teams.
Yeah, you've got to be very frustrated if you're Stratton right now, because you had a very good start to that game, and then your first push onto the point, honestly, was very good as well. Like, that was a fight. You looked like you were going to win, but unfortunately, Toronto Esports was just able to stall you out and get all their members back and reset the fight. And by that time, that fight went on for so long, and both teams kind of were just trickling in to kind of, secure that. That they didn't really have much time to reset and go for actual coordinated pushes after that. So great job by Toronto Esports to stall that out. But
definitely.
For Stratton, definitely going to be a test of their mental fortitude here heading into this second game, because at this point, you've done pretty well in every single one of these King of the Hill maps, yet you've lost all 4 rounds of them. So you've got to be, that's got to start taking a mental toll on you at some point.
It definitely does, because you got to consider tilt factor. That's something that a lot of pros do consider when going into things. What can we do to make these guys want to just quit? Hopefully, Team Stratton has that mental fortitude, able to hold on. We've seen it time and time again where the underdog does end up coming back to take things over. So hopefully they continue to do so. Note, getting a hefty little kill onto the D.Va for the side of Team Stratton. That's going to be absolutely huge. And then following up on Siege as well. We just know Note as that player that's going to get those picks, man.
More than his hook accuracy is great. He lands a lot of his hooks, and that's impressive. But what I find incredibly impressive about his Roadhog is his positioning. He is just continuously right next to his supports and right next to his backline in places where maybe the tanks don't see him or they don't necessarily expect him. So people dive his supports, and then Note goes, "Oh, hello there," and just hooks them.
Right.
Just like that. Goodbye, Winston. Gets knocked right off the map. With his ult, he's just always there to protect his backline, and it's just so impressive. Now, you're gonna have to regroup on Stratton's side. Actually, Mercy picks Onigod. Okay.
That's what you like to see, man. Jaru now busting out that Dragon Blade immediately, picking up a two-piece, taking out Sieg and Lag. So both supports down for the side of Team Stratton. Luke does get Jaru in the exchange, but damage was already done. You can't let that man have that much free reign. And just a note on what you were saying on note. That's what I like to see when I look at a good Roadhog player. Can they land hooks? Yeah, that makes them amazing, but can they protect that back line with those hooks? And Note just does a phenomenal job of it, as we see the Genji in the back line, as well as the Blood Raiden on that Tracer, and then automatically we see Note turn around and try to take him out. And that's what you got to have. We see him landing a good hook on Brutum right there, finishing him off, taking out Lag. And then Luke also dropping. Onigod and Jaru both get finished off by Feed Town. And I think we're going to see Team Stratton able to change the tide maybe here. They've got 3 ults up in their favor now, as opposed to the 2 that's going to be up for, 3 that's going to be up on the side of Toronto. If they can hold on, because we've seen them come back before. It's not unknown for Team Stratton to do something like that. So I'm really hoping that they can mount this comeback nicely.
Yeah, definitely not, because, you know, they were able, despite Note playing that pretty well, they were able to kind of stall off a lot. I think we do see Lag on the Lucio now, though. I believe he was previously on the Ana, if I'm not mistaken. So,
right. Well, there's that Graviton Surge now coming out. Blood Rain picking up a triple with that to I guess, keep it going his direction. Jaru does pick up 2, though, and now it's a 1v1 against him and that Tracer. Onigod helping him out, though. Finish off Blood Rain. It's going to switch back over to Toronto Esports at this point, and they should be, in my opinion, able to hold on throughout the entirety of the rest of this map.
Yeah, they should be able to hold on to this. You know, Onigod and Jaru have just been playing out of their minds all day. I mean, I don't know if this is app play for these guys or what, but they look like they've been playing phenomenally. They've just been killing the backline, staying alive. They're almost always the last guys alive. It's very hard to kill them. And, you know, if one of them does get picked, the other one kills everything.
Right, and we're just noticing this now, or not noticing it just now, but Onigod throwing out that Pulse Bomb in the backline, taking out the Zarya before the team fight ensues, and then on the point is Jaru to assist his team. He gets a good dash through both Sieg and Blood Raiden there to turn the tide, and the third and a fourth one! 4 dashes in a row for Jaru. Let's get this man some testing. He's definitely on something. And it is just, and there's the 5th one to close it out onto Lag. Wow. Jeez, this guy is just nuts with the Genji.
Yeah, this guy's unreal. Do we know where he's from?
Japan. He's got to be from Japan, because only like true Japanese people can play a Genji at this level, right?
Koreans too, right? Like for some reason there's some crazy obsession in South Korea with one-tricking Genji. I don't know what it is, but like the amount of one-tricks at high, like top 500 in Korea is way more than on any other region.
He's entertaining to play though, and to watch. Sure. So I mean that could make up a lot of it. We are seeing a little bit of lineup change out of Toronto Esports with Jaru switching off of the Genji and going to the Tracer. I'm excited to see what he can do on Tracer. I haven't seen him on Tracer just yet. Onigod getting that first pick with the Widow, and he's now challenging the Widow on the other side of the fence, which is being played by Blood Raiden. So both teams electing to go with the Widow on this map. I was sitting in PC. I just recently started playing PC, and I was in a quick play. No, it wasn't a quick play. It was a very low-end comp game, and these guys are like, oh, this is a terrible map for Widow. No, man, it's so open. The Widows can have very much free reign of this map.
Yeah, this is a great Widow map, but what you don't see very often is the 2 Widows staying out. Usually one Widow ends up conceding to the other Widow, saying, all right, you're the better Widow, you're getting me here, and I'm not being as effective as you, and therefore I should switch to something that can counter you and kind of make your life hard. You do see the Diva on the side of Stratton, so Luke is playing that to kind of get in the Widow's face. But this Widow versus Widow war is not common. Blood Raiden there picking up 2
right.
Onigod again. So,
man, he is just on fire. Blood Raiden is the one to watch right now for the side of Team Stratton. That dude is just putting in some work. He got, what, 4 picks out of that team fight? It's just absolutely amazing work that he's doing over there. All right, so we got Jaru making his way back. He does have his Pulse Bomber ready to go, and we're going to see Snows coming up very shortly with Notes also following very quickly. There's that Pulse Bomb coming out that I was just mentioning. He throws it straight onto the Zenyatta, finishes him up, and just like that, they are up one in the team fight. Note finishing off Brutum, who is on that Genji. He was trying to put in some work, but Note made quick work of him. Over there on the side is Lag, trying to survive the onslaught that's coming at him, as well as Luke, who has to turn around to confront Jaru, who's just making his life miserable. Taking him out is Mac now, and Note finishing off Lag. The Winston does come in to try to relieve some of that strain off of Team Stratton, but he's not long for this world, as Note picks up a quick two-piece and then is promptly executed by Blood Raiden.
Yeah, you know, Blood Raiden, despite being able to pick up that kill there at the end, essentially where Toronto Esports decided to fight that fight, they knew where Blood Raiden was, and they said, okay, we're just going to fight it in a situation where he really can't get any angles on us. He really can't get shots. I was watching his point of view for most of that fight, and he was just unable to really get any clean looks at any person. And if he did, it was for such a brief window that asking your Widowmaker to hit that shot is you're asking for some Taimu or some, you're asking for some absolute insanity, right? Well, now Overguard has managed
Overguard's picked off 2 to start us off here. Now watching Jaru, he does have his pulse bomb ready. He's going to throw it out on the D.Va. Getting her out of mech is absolutely key at this point, and they do. Now looking to finish her off. Cynic does drop. There's that beat drop coming out now from Stratton as they try to fight their way back to the point. 75% on the clock for Toronto Esports here as we got a whole hog coming out from Note. There's that Dragon Blade from Bruden. He's on the hunt. He does finish off Note, and now Overguard drops to Sig. We got a Tracer on Genji battle on the point going on right now. More so Jaru trying to hold it down, I guess, than anything, and now Seg trying to hunt him down to finish him off with that Zenyatta. Turning around is Jaru to try to take him out, and it looks like it could be effective. No, Jaru turns it around, finishes off Seg, but Feed Town gets one onto Cynic, and it's going to transfer back over to Team Stratton at this point. It's only a one-team fight win, though, for Toronto Esports. They just got to come in, clear point, and they'll be walking away with map number 2 in the bag.
They will, but they don't have too much time to do it. Team Stratton already at 60% basically. So they're going to have to be very, very intelligent with how they make these pushes because they only have maximum two well-coordinated ones at least, to make this work. So we're going to see how they choose to attack this here. Looks like you see Blood Raiden immediately picking Overguard though, and but Jaru responds to the sticky.
Right, Jaru picking off Luke and Lag in that team fight to allow them to get 2 right up automatically, and then Blood Raiden coming in. There's that beat drop from Toronto Esports as they run in, immediately double teamed was Seg as Jaru and Snow both said not today Missy, and finished her off. Toronto Esports just astounding. They're just amazing at their comebacks. Very quickly comes in after losing the point and just takes it right back. I mean, just astonishing.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, if you're a Stratton though, I'm not entirely sure why Blood Raiden stayed on Widow the entire time. I think you had Luke playing D.Va, you had the D.Va to contest the opposite Widow, and Overguard was just playing superior. He was getting more picks, and he was putting himself in better positions. There's a lot of fights where, like I said, you know, it was really unfortunate, but Blood Raiden was just unable to find any angles. Like where Toronto Esports was picking their fights, they knew where Widow could see and could not see, and they were fighting in those places where she could not help.
Right.
And with how effective he's been on Tracer all series, right, and how good he's been all day on Tracer, I think it would have, you know, maybe the Widow, it helped at first, it was good, but maybe after, you know, after you take the point back, after you have that fight, especially where you realize, okay, these guys know where to fight so that I can't shoot them, that's maybe a time to switch off. Like I said, you don't see very many games at like the top level, in like an OGN Apex tournament or at like a World or something like that, where it's Widow versus Widow the entire time. Usually you see one Widow switching off relatively quickly and the team just conceding to deal with the Widow with something like a D.Va. And especially considering Team Stratton started off with the D.Va, that's what suggested to me that they were already ready to switch him back to the Tracer if it didn't work out, but that change just never came in. So I found the team composition and everything like that just kind of interesting from Stratton.
Well, if you're Stratton right now, you're down 2-0, right? You're 2 maps to none, and your map pool is Nepal, Route 66, and Hollywood. What is your choice in that one?
I don't know. Anything but Nepal. I mean, right now you've played you've played 2 King of the Hill maps and you've lost 6 rounds in a row, right?
Right.
When we talked about tilt factor earlier, if you're Toronto Esports, you're 100% going Nepal.
They are going to Nepal too,
right?
Siegmeyer did choose Nepal on this one. So in my opinion, I'm agreeing with you here. It's quite questionable to me.
Interesting. Well, maybe what they think is that this is their best King of the Hill map, and they go, okay, guys, we have to win it anyway. So let's win, And when we win this map, they'll get pissed because they hadn't even lost a round. Then in the game that they have to win, right? This is like the evil genius like counter tilt move.
Gotcha.
Right? Like if you can win this, maybe win this decisively, then that gives you hope for the rest of the series. Because realistically, if you win the next 2 maps, let's just say you played the 2 payload maps that we had, the Hollywood and Route 66, so you win the payload and the hybrid. Looming in the back of your mind the whole time is shit. Can we even win what's the point, right? Can we even win this map? But
right.
if you win Nepal, then you go, okay, guys, we have a chance in the series. We have no more King of the Hill maps. We're good. We can win these payloads now. So that maybe that's the thinking behind it, which I if that's the rationale, I would understand that. That just really depends on, that's where your captain really has to understand your team's mentality, and the individual psychology of the players on your team, right? And what will they respond better to? What will they be able to deal with? And what will help you ultimately come out with a victory?
Right. Well, what are you thinking about the lineup so far? I want to say that, nope, Onigod does switch. I was going to say that maybe we're going to see a Hanzo come out, but Onigod looks like he's going to be sticking with that Tracer. They're going to be going with their standard lineup, Toronto Esports will. We haven't seen much change out of them thus far, and I'm loving the fact that they can play so consistently with this lineup. Immediately, Jaru, with that deflect on the Flame Strike, ends up taking out Lag, and it's just back and forth at this point. Note does have it in the favor of Toronto Esports. Onigod just making sure that Toronto Esports walks away with his first point as he picks up, I think, a 2 or 3 piece in that team fight.
Yeah, that was a great play from Onigod and really everybody on Toronto Esports, but both of these teams clearly, these are their comfort compositions, right? These are the champions that we see these guys playing the most, defaulting to. So this is really a true test, and Blood Rain there actually managed to get the early pick on Onigod, so that should help Stratton push in and maybe secure this point quickly.
Right, but immediately the equalizer comes out from Jaru as he picks up that 2-piece onto Lag and Segan. Then a quick dash through Blood Raid and finishes him off. He is pretty low on the health meter, but it looks like he is going to be able to survive here. We do have Feed Town pushing to point to try to bring the fight to him, but I don't think he wants that fight. He's a little bit outnumbered on that one. Toronto Esports very dominant in the first 2 team fights of this game.
This goes back to what we were saying just last game, or last round, of how it doesn't seem to matter, even if you do, like Onigod and Jaru, which is a fantastic duo, even if you seem to get one of them, the other just decides to go, okay, you died, I'll kill everything this fight. Like, Jaru just went absolutely off. He got 4 kills in that fight, killed everybody, both the healers by himself. Excellent play from him.
Oh my god, Jaru with 2 quick dashes, and then that Dragon Blade to finish off the third. Onigod chiming in to finish off Blood. Let's get a hashtag gong in the chat. That is a full team wipe. Toronto Esports proving that they are trying to win this thing here and now.
Yeah, this Genji play has been absolutely fantastic from Jaru. And you really see from Toronto Esports, they don't want to go to a game 4, don't want to go to a game 5, don't want to risk it. They want to win this right now in this game. And they really want to start off this point letting them know, like, hey, you're not winning a single round in this series.
Right. Well, here's that the Earth Shatter coming out, and attack visor immediately there, following from Bruden, trying to put some pressure down, but it is all red in the kill feed as Note picks up a 2-piece and a 3rd, as a matter of fact, finishing off Brudum, and to continue the onslaught here of Toronto. These dudes are just spectacular with it. They are giving no ground to Team Stratton.
No, and losing that 100-0, I mean, this is your worst nightmare right now. Because now you're heading into your elimination game. You've lost 6 rounds of King of the Hill, round 7, the first one of this game. Okay, guys, maybe this map will be different. Maybe this is our best map, and you get 100-0.
Right.
So, I don't know now if maybe they just wanted to get this over with. Maybe they were so tilted from the first 2 losses, they just said, screw this, and let's just, you know what I mean? I really hope not, because I would like to see, you know, some back and forth games. We got a nice game 5 final yesterday, and I'd love to see that here again today, but...
we do got some change-ups here for Team Stratton. They are going with Blood Raiden on that McCree. I think a wise choice for them. Luke still sitting on that Roadhog. I kind of would rather Luke go back to the Zarya pick. He hasn't been too terribly effective protecting that back line on, or landing hooks for that matter, onto anyone from Toronto Esports. So I think that Team Stratton definitely needs to go back a little bit and change a couple of things here or there to make more of their lineup. But a good A good first kill comes out from Toronto Esports, and a second, landing those on Luke and Feedtown. The McCree blood raiding over here gets picked off by Onigod as well. Toronto Esports continues on with their plan to dominate this game as Onigod picks up 3 in that team fight. He's no longer on the Tracer, mind you. He is now on the Roadhog.
Yeah, now they've kind of got back to a composition very similar to the round 1, game 1 composition that we saw them pull out on that first point on Lijiang Tower. But instead of having the Soldier, they're actually keeping Jaru on the Genji for this map. So the very interesting choice. You're going to see a flank around to the right here from Strat and see if they can push in a pin from the Reinhardt, but he doesn't get the kill. Zarya bubbles.
Right.
And some easy picks. Wow. This
Definitely.
is going to be another team wipe for Toronto Esports.
It definitely is. Note just putting in work on that Zarya. Picks up one himself, and Onigod just continues to dominate on whatever character he happens to play. We do got a question in the chat from Mattman. How does this decide the seeding of the top 4 into the finals later on? Now, how we think we're going to be doing this is basically Toronto Esports, obviously, if they take a victory here, they're going to be seeded at the top. And also those from other qualifiers. I think Toronto Esports going to get number 1. Yeah, Jaru. Jesus Christ, with a 5-piece coming in. I was not on him at that time either. I meant to switch the camera to him, and I totally missed it. I was trying to answer the question from the chat.
That's play of the game.
That is 100. Oh, we're going to see it again. I have no doubt about that.
That was unbelievable.
But to finish what I was saying, we're going to be combining the qualifiers with Ghost ranks to establish the most fair seeding. Obviously, this weighing a little higher. Onigod getting 2 more right there with his whole hog. Picking up a 3rd one, actually. Taking out Brutum, Seg, and we also got Lag. And then a sleeping and now waiting for death Feedtown as he runs off the edge. Gets eliminated by the Lucio boop. Oh, man. Team Stratton really has an uphill battle to fight here. They're sitting at 87%, Toronto Esports is.
You can see the tilt, too, because Feedtown should have immediately ran off the map there, but he just kind of stood there and swung around. He's kind of conceded defeat. Now this final push, it's going to be an overtime, but doesn't seem to matter. It's like that was a beautiful ult from Note there, set up a quintuple kill. So that might end up being play of the game. I'm not really sure, but either or. Some fantastic stuff here from both Note and Jaru. This Toronto team is really good.
They are just absolutely impressive. We do see in the back we did have the Ana trying to get taken out, but Seg just not enough to get Snow in those final moments there. Quick 2 caps for Toronto Esports. 1 more is going to secure this for them, and that will end up doing it for the tournament once that happens, unless Team Stratton can come back, and it's going to be full reverse mode from that point forward. So it's quite a hefty feat that's going to have to happen for Team Stratton.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, this is the mother of all comebacks. You need a reverse sweep in the elimination game, and then you need to reverse sweep the series after that. That's tough. That's tough to do.
Matt, man, there will be a lot more information as the tournament proceeds. If you want to just join our Discord, discord.gg/TheOverguard, I will give you some more information after this tournament. Just send a message over to Gozy, and I'll make sure you get all the information that you need.
And Stratton was one of the teams that had a lot of fan hype coming into this too, right? Like
right.
People knew who they were. So it seems like, you know, maybe this Toronto Esports team representing my city well.
Right, and I can't really take away anything from Stratton. They're a terrific team. They've been playing really well in the series. Toronto Esports seems to be firing on all 12 cylinders, whereas, you know, Team Stratton's that little 4-banger. You know, it's just not enough to go against this powerhouse of a Toronto team.
Yeah, I mean, this is like you said, it's not like they're playing poorly, really. It's just, I feel like the pressure Note and Jaru are able to put on the entire team. Note just making everybody so conscious of every step they take, being so scared of that hook. He's made so many people paid for that, ruined so many and delayed so many pushes. And then Jaru just constantly harassing the backline, along with Onigod. And then a very, very frustrating team to deal with.
It very much is. Note does get taken out here by Seg. Feedtown also chiming in to the kill feed as he takes out Snow. He does get taken out by Cynic, but his team continues to have the picks flow in their favor as Onigod drops. Now Jaru coming back for his team. He's got his Dragon Blade ready to go and looks like he's going to utilize it now, and he's going straight after the Zenyatta, finishing him off now, dashing over to get the other support. Now he's on the hunt trying to finish off Brutum, who is the other Genji, and I would love to see a Genji 1v going on. That would be absolutely entertaining.
Yeah, that dive, I mean, that dive went about as well as you could have hoped for. You immediately got the picks onto a support and onto the tank. You know, Note and Snow were just taken down immediately by Beatdown jumping in on them. However, they still lost after that.
Well, here comes the Dragon Blade. Now out of Brutum into the beat drop that Toronto Esports just threw up, trying to save him a little bit of that pressure. Jaru does end up getting taken out by Blood Raiden, who's trying to keep his team in this fight here. A charge from Cynic gets negated by Brutum's quick dash on that Genji. Now all over the point is Team Stratum as they start cleaning things up. Blood Raiden coming in with a good Helix. Luke picking up a two-piece with that Zarya, and it looks like this could be Team Stratum's comeback here.
Yeah, they were definitely able to eliminating Jaru right away, basically forcing him off the map, forcing him to scramble up for his life, and then killing him right when he did come back up the map. That just forced him out of the team fight for so long, negated all the damage and all the harassment that he's been doing all game long, and allowed them to actually win a team fight. So that's going to be the key for them, really. They're going to have to make sure they keep picking Jaru and keep avoiding getting hooked by Note while trying to do so. Looks like
most definitely.
Toronto's flanking around to the left.
Oh, there's that Graviton Surge came out, but it got eaten, unfortunately. I think it actually might have gotten deflected.
Yeah.
I didn't see what exactly happened from it.
It went all the way to the stairwell behind them.
Oh, man. So a good deflect does come out. That's quite unfortunate. Dragon Blade now coming out from Jaru. He's on the hunt. He picks up a three-piece right away, finishing off Seg, Luke, and Brutum. And this is going to be Toronto Esports just answering back almost immediately. They're going to get that late pick now onto Feedtown, quite possibly. No, it looks like he is going to survive. Blood Raiden also over there. Brutum and Feedtown with their ults ready to go. They're going to have to make a quick move as the timer's already sitting at 96%. A good hook, though, does come in, and there's the Rampage now coming out from Feedtown on the Team Stratum side. Also, Brutum throws out his Dragon Blade, trying to make things happen. Cynic now in a little bit of trouble as the Rampaging Monkey could spell trouble for him. It's down to the final health meters, but Cynic ends up backing over the health pack to help him secure that one. We got Note going whole hog as he finishes off Feedtown, and Siegmeyer finishes off Mac. This is very back and forth on the point right now as Luke takes out Note. I'm not even sure what just happened there, but Toronto Esports does walk away with the victory with Jaro being 1% health there. And they're gonna just secure it right here and now with a quick 3-0 over Team Stratum. Here comes that play of the match out of Jaru. I think this is gonna be that saucy little five-piece that he threw down a minute ago. Now we're gonna have our chance to take a look at this. Oh man, the dashes, and they are all clumped up. That is absolutely spectacular. Absolutely spectacular.
He just destroyed everybody. And then right afterwards, you had Note, popping out the Zarya ult. And then, you saw them respond. You saw everybody grouped up. Luke threw what looked like it was going to be an amazing Graviton Surge. And instead, Jaru deflects it back to the middle of nowhere. He deflected it back to the stairwell where nobody was pushing from it. It just died out there, was unable to do anything. Some of the players right after the games, we were able to see the chat here. They were saying good games to each other, and some of the comments coming out from Stratton were, Jaru, you are nuts. And I completely concur with those players' assessment.
Right.
That guy is insane.
All right, so you guys see it. A quick 3-0 puts Toronto Esports at #1 seed so far for the finals tournament, which is going to be going on the 20th. Team Stratton just did amazing work. They 2-0'd Sin Eaters, also going 2-1 against Out of Order to get to the finals. Crossfade 2-0'd by Toronto Esports, but they did manage to 2-0, looking for main tank to get them to the semis. All teams that made it to the semis will be moving on to the finals on the 20th, so congratulations to Sin Eaters, Team Stratton, Toronto Esports, and Crossfade. We will see you guys on the 20th. And for those of you that want to participate in future Overguard content, we do have two more qualifiers coming up on the 6th and the 13th. Make sure to join into our Discord, discord.gg/TheOverguard. I know we saw a couple of people putting the links out into the Twitch chat. Can't thank you enough for that. I've been kind of a one-man show here with Trooper helping me out. My name's Gozy. Trooper here, if you wanna throw your name out there so that everybody can give you a follow as well.
Yeah, sure. You can follow me at David_Troop, THROOP. There's a silent H in there. Don't ask me why right now. Maybe I'll make a video. Maybe I'll make a video on it one day. But name, and that's how you pronounce it. So I did just throw it in there and thought, you could break all the rules in the English language. But yeah, always love to talk about Overwatch and the cast. And if you guys have any feedback on what you'd like to see me do better or us do better or anything like that, please feel free to send it to me. I always love to talk to the fans and the people who tune in and make this possible.
Right. All right, so that is Trooper. Everybody give him a round of applause for being the co-caster here today. He did a spectacular job. My name's Gozy. You can find me at GozyTV on Twitter. Also, I'm one of the admins or owners of the Overguard, so make sure to drop into our Discord. We've already beat that horse to death, so I'm not going to drop that one. But please make sure to go visit the sponsor, Haste.net. I know a lot of people can testify to how great those guys actually are over there and what they do with helping lower pings and getting your internet to a more sustainable rate. That way you don't lag in game and whatnot. Well, a lot of the pros actually use them. There was a good NRG quote from a quote from NRG in regards to Haste as to how well they actually do. So make sure to go to Haste.net and sign up for those guys. Couldn't speak any more highly. And make sure to sign up for our other tournaments on the 6th and the 13th if you happen to play on the PC. And if you want to play For Honor, we've actually got a For Honor tournament going on tomorrow. It's on the Xbox. We also do For Honor just about every weekend for PlayStation, PS4, and PC. So if that floats your boat, make sure to go sign up for those. Battlefy.com/TheOverguard for all of those tournaments. And here at the Overguard, we appreciate everybody viewing, everybody in the tournament. And that's going to be it for us here. If anybody's got any questions or wants any more information on the Overguard or myself, go to our Discord and just ask me there. You guys have a great day.